Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, added flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, added flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 In the veins, checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, added flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from the beautiful Navel Base Coronado. It is a little road course racing action as these drivers get 16 corners per lap here this evening at what will be a very, very exciting race. First time we've ever been here as you see Matthew Wood head down through corner number 16, back down across the start-finish line there, getting a lap in, and it is the quick time here in this qualifying session. A lot of drivers trying to get laps in, trying to get something going here as we get a little bit of an extended qualifying run for each and every one of these drivers. As you can see, all the military equipment here, the jets, all the helicopters, everything looking fresh here for what is going to be an amazing night of racing action. There's one of the really, really cool scenes there that we saw in real life here at Naval Base Coronado at the San Diego weekend for NASCAR. As you see all the Navy ships and all of the helicopters and everything else around the base here, man. It is a sight to see. It was actually a really, really cool event, really, really cool race here, and it's exciting to see these guys here in iRacing for the first time trying to take on Naval Base Coronado for what will be a very, very fun night of racing action here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. Now, I don't think there was an update to our race info, so I didn't really get a good look. I don't know if there's any stages, if we're going to have stage breaks here tonight. It'd be interesting to see if I can find it. I don't know where exactly we're going to see, as obviously tough to see. It'd be interesting if we could find out. Is there? I just threw it into the Discord there, see if one of the fellas can reply. Not 100% sure if there are going to be stages, and I'm not sure if there's going to be caution flags or if it'll be localized yellows. It'll be fun to kind of tell. It'll be fun to kind of see, you know, what the call is here for the group. As obviously here at road courses, yellow flags, man, they chew up a lot of time. They chew up a lot of time here that these drivers probably don't necessarily want to have to kind of slow down and take a break. There's only 45 laps, so I can't see there being multiple caution flags. I feel everything's going to be localized yellows, which is going to make things really, really interesting because we've seen some drivers, especially in qualifying and in our practice session, kind of struggle a little bit. Some of these corners, man, they are very, very tight. They're very tricky when you go from some of the asphalt to the concrete. It can definitely kind of mess with the tires and mess with the handling of your car, as you do see Alex out there on the speedway, rolling here as looks like qualifying is going to come to a close. So he's qualified in the 9th position. Only 12 drivers took lap times. I believe 22 drivers have loaded in and are ready to rock and roll here for this main feature event. And I'm glad to see a good car count. I'm glad to see, 20 plus drivers here ready to rock and roll, ready to rumble. Obviously, that just shows the commitment that all these drivers have. I'm sure I'm not the only one that just had to buy this racetrack. I'm sure there's a lot of these drivers that haven't bought it yet, had to just buy it. Some of them may have even missed this race because they didn't want to buy this racetrack. So it's going to be fun to see for a lot of these drivers, first time being here. A lot of these drivers haven't really ran laps here or a lot of practice laps here at that. So it's going to be a very, very interesting night of racing action for everybody to enjoy here this evening as they get ready to rock and roll. They get ready to get to battle here as you take a look at that beautiful Navy ship once again. Starting on the pole here this evening, we saw him there in the opening bit here, man, in that qualifying session, putting himself into that pole position. It is Mr. Matthew Wood. Wood will start in the top spot here this evening. To his outside will be the 31 ride of Joseph Smith. Starting in the 3rd spot in the number 5 ride is the Raising Cane's Machine. That is Mr. Xavier Rungelbrugge. Zay will start there in position number 3. To his outside in the 57 ride, it is Grant Applegate. Applegate starting there in position number 4 here this afternoon. Starting in the 5th position in the number 57, it is Mr. Evan Stewart. Stewart will start there in 5th. To his outside in the 27 right is Jack Buelty. Starting back in 7th in the 23, it's Austin Thompson. To his outside in the number, now it's not the 64 right, I do know that. Hard to take a look here at these race cars, as definitely a bad camera angle. Okay, it is the 64. So the 64 ride of Trevor Dyer will start there in 8th. Starting back in 9th will be the 20 ride of Michael Alex will start there in position number 9. To his outside will be the 60 machine of Ryan Haller. And we do see Trent Johns, Jordan Fisher back there in 12th, Jaden Browder in 13th. Landon Burbage, who won our race last night in the Premium Stock Car Racing League, that number 2 machine will start in position number 14 out there on the speedway. Starting back in 15th will be Nicholas Wheeler. To his outside will be the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson. Lucian Thompson, Jason Bogart there in 18th. Thaddeus Friel Jr. That back in 19th. In 20th will be the 34 ride of Aiden Lucas. And then I believe Stephen Blevins and Cooper Goodwin are going to start down pit side here this evening. And I believe to start this race, there may be a black flag and a pass-through penalty here on the number 41. Of Nicholas Wheeler as well. So Wheeler may have to serve a early race penalty here. Now, luckily enough, you do have to come down pit side. You probably won't go a lap down, but it will put you deep in the field. You'll have to hope that there is at least a caution flag as the beautiful Porsche safety car takes these drivers around the speedway. Let's get the track map up for you guys as well. Track map going up so you guys get a good look here at kind of where these drivers are, where they're heading out there on the speedway, and you can kind of follow along. Let's see, let's go position here. You guys can see the track map. You guys can see exactly where these drivers are as we're not even halfway through this pace lap yet, just waiting for the green flag to fly. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be very, very interesting as here you go. Let's go. Let's go, Fish Mom. Fish Mom in the chat showing the love. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor right now. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Hit that subscribe button as well. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today as Alexis. Oh, man, I struggle with that last name. Alexis. I'm going to struggle with that so much. I already know it. I don't know what it is. It's such a, I don't know. It's a very unique name, to say the least. That is for certain. Alexis. I want to say Alexis, but it's not Alexis. But that's where my tongue kind of goes to. Fish Mom is kind of in that area, but it's not that. Oh man, it's gonna be a rough one to say his last name all night long. As Rodney Stewart, Rodney says, "Good evening, Peacemaker family." Good evening, Rodney. How are you, Mr. Stewart? How you doing this afternoon? Hot Rod in the chat showing the love here in this one. Anna Rugglebruggy in the chat says, "Have a great race, boys. Let's go." Number 5, cheering on Zay here this evening. Zay starting in 3rd. I mean, he's showing some pretty good pace and pretty good speed here as of late, and obviously showing some really good pace on the road courses here this year as well. So look for Zay to have a pretty decent run here this evening. Just can't take himself out of it, as Mrs. Holler in the chat as well says, "Hey, Peacemaker, everyone have a great race tonight." Cheering on everyone here this evening, especially cheering on that 60 ride of Ryan Holler, as Holler going to look to have a good run, a good race here this evening as we get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to rock and roll here in this one. Now, didn't have any of the drivers jump into the comments section. I was hoping to get a couple of them in here. We may have to drag one of these guys in at some point. We'll let them keep on rolling, though. I mean, are we close to the start-finish line right here? Let me even take a look at the track map myself. Okay, we've still got a little time. Let's bring Evan Stewart in here real quick. See if we can get some updates on this one. Hey, Evan, it's Aaron up here in the booth. Just going to pull you in real quick, brother. Is there caution flags in this, in stage breaks?
Yes, there will be 2 stages at the end of lap 13 and the end of lap 29. Sorry, Jaden's been having a really rough week, so we're a little behind.
All right,
We're getting
13 and
info out.
29. All right, no worries, brother. 13 and 29. That's all I need to know.
Yes, sir.
Good luck. Have fun, brother.
Thank you. Good luck in the booth.
All right, so I'm going to put that in the chat. Lap 13 and lap 29 are our stages. All right, so lap 13, lap 29 are our stage breaks here this evening. So a couple stages, that kind of brings the field right back together. But here we go. Pace car makes a hard right-hand turn, and here we go. From beautiful San Diego, it's Navel Base Coronado as the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League ends all the anticipation with the feature presentation. Already some contact. Look out, there goes the 41 right around back there towards the rear of the field, but out in front through corner number 2 and back down into 3, it's the 16, a Matthew Wood, our pole sitter, out in front, able to keep that 31 right back there at bay as Joseph Smith all over his back bumper. Zay's right there in third, Applegate's back in fourth, but let's take a look back here at Nicholas Wheeler as Wheeler already with some damage. The 41 right just trying to hang on to it. Now gonna lose it there through corner 4 and 5. Look out, Stephen Blevins almost got a piece of him. Luckily enough, avoids that 41 right, and unfortunately already here in this one for Wheeler has to serve that penalty down pit side to start this race, and running into a couple issues along the way. Things are not shaping up very well for this 41 ride. Let's take a look back down into corner number 1. So it's Aiden Lucas there towards his back bumper. 41 ride shoots it through corner 1, gets a little loose, tries to catch it, unfortunately goes around. I do believe some contact there. That's Friel Jr. that unfortunately gets tied up in it. So Thaddeus with some damage early on as well, as he got a good piece of that 41 ride. But hopefully not too much damage. Hopefully that car will be A-okay. But out in front, it is this 16 machine of Matthew Wood who continues to lead the charge here this evening. Is Greg in the chat? What's good, Greg? Greg says, good luck, Van. Let's go, Trevor, Jordan, and Thaddeus cheering them all on here this evening. As Anna says, hi everyone. Hi Anna, Mrs. Alessandro in the chat, coming in showing the love. James in the chat as well. Mr. Will Banks says, come on Trevor, cheering Trevor on here this evening. Trevor hoping to have himself a great run this afternoon. As man, some great racing, some great action. Oh, look out at a corner 16 right there. The 31 of Smith gets a piece of the outside fence right there. That's the pit wall. That's just concrete. Unfortunately, some pretty solid right front damage for the 31, but it's Matthew Wood out in front. Wood's got the top spot. He's got a decent gap now between himself and that number 31 of Joseph Smith. Now, we did see Michael Alexic having some issues here. Let's take a look at the 20 ride as the Hendrick machine rolls down and through the concrete right here, gets the Jack Bilty's back bumper, gets in maybe a little bit too deep, loses the rear end. Oh, that was a big hit right there as he slid it sideways into the tire barriers. In real life racing, those tire barriers do turn down in corner number 12. Unfortunately, here on iRacing, they do not move, and he's got to wait for all these drivers to get around him here, and I'm assuming he's going to have some major rear end damage. It's going to be tough to try to even get this thing turned around, and there it is. He does have to tow it down pit side here, so early issues for that number 20 ride as well. Let's take a look here at Wheeler. Wheeler's going to run into more problems as the 41 ride just trying to keep this thing pointed the right direction, just trying to keep the the race together, not wanting to put himself in more issues. Unfortunately, gets on the throttle, gets in there way too hot and heavy. Could not get the car turned, and unfortunately ends up into the tire barriers, the outside fence there as well, through corner number 10 and 11. Some pretty solid contact there, again, for the 41 ride. Now we do see Jason Bogart also with some contact. You can already see him in the fence. This is in corner number 2. Gets in there deep, goes for a bit of a slide. You can see the tires lock up on him right there. Unfortunately, just could not get that 17 ride checked up in time. Pancakes that concrete barrier, and unfortunately does it again right there as well. Even harder there into the tire barriers and that concrete wall. You can see that right inside. Tore apart here on the 17, and now he is going to struggle to work his way all the way back around this speedway and back towards pit lane here this evening. As Matthew Wood out in front, we do see Jordan Fisher playing a little strategy early on. Fisher hits pit road. Now, Fisher does have a little bit of damage to that right front as well. So I wonder if this is an unscheduled pit stop here for Jordan Fisher. You can see the damage that right front quarter panel tore apart right here. The crew's going to go to work. He's going to try to get some service done to it, get this thing fixed up and back into one good solid piece. So as the crew does kind of get that fender pulled out, they get some tires put onto it, a full tank of fuel, and I believe he is going to sit here and get some of that damage repaired. Unfortunately, that is going to slide him deep in the field, but there we go. Quite a bit of it fixed right there. Now they're going to look underneath, make sure the tow is good. Looks like they've got that thing all fixed up and rolling again back out onto the speedway. So that's a great break there for Fisher to be able to at least rejoin this race. Now, he does have a couple stage breaks, so he does have an opportunity to kind of reel these guys back in later on in the run. But out in front here in stage number 1 and looking strong early on here this evening, it is that 16 of Matthew Wood. As Wood continues to lead the charge, the Outlier Speedco number 16 machine hitting his marks, rolling nicely here, and already pulling out to a 2.5-second gap between himself and Joseph Smith. There's Smith, there's Xavier Ruggelbrugge. As you do see, Smith actually misses a bit of the corner right here. Let's throw it back. So he gets in here at a bit of a weird angle, maybe a little bit too much speed. And unfortunately right here, goes to the wrong side of the tire barriers down in corner number 12. And unfortunately, he's got to slow up, he's got to pull over, and he's got to kind of get a little bit of pace out of that one. So that's going to just set him back a little farther right there, having to roll out of the throttle for cutting the race course. That brings Zay quickly to his back bumper, and it allows Matthew Wood to pull a little farther away as they head down through 13, 14, and 15, back down into 16 and across the start-finish line here in San Diego. Matthew Wood, our early race leader, already 3 laps led, and already a 3-second gap, or dang near close to it. The 3 seconds between himself and Joseph Smith, and looking to continue to keep on pulling farther and farther away. Smith and Zay, they're in 2nd and 3rd. Applegate and Evan Stewart roll there in 4th and 5th. Jack Buelte's back in that 6th position, as our top 6 have all stayed in the same spots as which they started. Top 6 has not changed positions. Each driver sits exactly where they started this feature event. Now, you take a look back behind them, the number 64 rider, Trevor Dyer. Dyer has jumped up a spot into 7th. Jaden Browder up 5 positions, now into 8th. Then we take a look at Austin Thompson down a couple spots there in 9th. Trent Johns. Landon Burbage is up 5 spots here on the speedway. Same with Wyatt Mickelson back here in the number 51 ride. He's in the Ally Chevrolet here this evening. His teammate Ryan Haller back behind him in the Kroger number 60 ride. They're in 13th. Lucian Thompson there in 14th. Thaddeus Thriel in the 98 machine rolls there in the 15th position. Stephen Blevins and Jordan Fisher back in 17th. For Fisher, I mean, he's not too far away from Blevins to try to pick up at least one more spot here before, the end of stage number 1 this afternoon. As we did see Aiden Lucas run into some issues here. Let's take a look back at Aiden, see what happens to the 34 ride. So down across the line here, shoots it into corner number 1. Oh, he's going to hit the infield fence, then the outside fence, and oh man, that was a huge hit right there. We saw that in the real-life NASCAR race as well. I believe the Xfinity Series race had a huge stack-up like that. Did the Cup Series have one like this as well? Driver hitting that inside fence and then back up into the concrete wall, and then it's just mayhem afterwards. Unfortunately, you can see the damage that the GOAT Racing diecast number 34 ride had received out there on the speedway. That is a huge, huge hit right there as ICAT, 12 ICAT. That is a stupid thing to say, honestly. Get out of here, bot. As you do see the 34 down pit road here. Unfortunately, looks like his day may be coming to an early close. You do see Nicholas Wheeler still down there in that micro center. Number 41. Looks like Jason Bogart has already taken his car off the speedway, back down behind pit wall, and potentially out of this race. Michael Alex also down pit side as Alexish down there in position number 21. He hasn't started rolling again on the speedway. Unfortunately, I'm not even sure if it's calculated him as running a complete lap out there on the speedway, as he unfortunately ran into opening lap issues. Cooper Goodwin also did not officially start this race, but for Matthew Wood, he's out in front. He leads the charge and hoping to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay, as the 16 machine looking really, really strong here this evening, man. I don't know if anyone's going to have something for him here. It's going to take, I don't know, maybe a hope and a prayer, maybe a little bit of a miracle for somebody to try to jump up there and beat that 16 ride, or, you know, he's going to have to run into connection issues or something to try to open up the door for one of these other drivers to try to work their way up and into victory lane here this evening. It could come down to pit stops. It could come down to the strategy. We'll have to wait and see. But for right now, Matthew Wood rolls out there on the racetrack. We haven't even completed our 5th lap of this race, and he's opened up more than a 5-second lead between himself and Joseph Smith. As Greg Dyer says, Fisher had to pit, but don't make the mistake of counting him out. Oh, you can never count out Fisher. That is for certain. And I think for Fisher, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how far these guys can go on a pit cycle here. That's going to be the real big question, I think, here this afternoon, because I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how far they can go on a tank of fuel here at Navel Base Coronado. So potentially maybe Fisher needed to pit anyways. Getting that extra little bit of fuel may help him out, but at the same point in time, obviously for Matthew Wood, Joseph Smith, Zay, everyone else, do they have to hit pit road before the end of the stage? If they don't have to hit pit lane, I'm sure you will still see drivers like Matthew Wood, Joseph Smith, Xavier Rongo-Brungi, maybe with a lap or two to go in stage number 1, they may hit pit road. They may take the opportunity to kind of hit pit lane and just, you know, maybe give up some stage points, but earn the opportunity to kind of restart still out in front or in a good position, trying to leapfrog those drivers that didn't pit out there on the speedway. It'll be interesting to see how that one kind of plays out. And for Fisher, yeah, you can never count out Fisher. And honestly, for the 39 ride, he's been laying down some really solid lap times, comparable or even better than Matthew Wood. So he is showing a lot of speed. And even if he still has to pit, or he does pit throughout this stage, doesn't get a chance to race or chase down our race leaders, the stage break does give us a caution flag. That will give us a stack up. Everyone will be right back on top of one another. So even though it may look bleak for Fisher and sitting, 59 seconds, almost a minute behind our race leader Matthew Wood right now, he could gain all that time back with the yellow flag and could put himself right back into the battles. He does make the move around Lucian Thompson, so Thompson does fall back into 14th. Fisher now into that 13th spot here on the speedway as Matthew Wood out in front, just continue to hit his marks, continue to run a clean, solid race. You can see the gap here way back there behind him. Out of that corner comes the 31 of Joseph Smith. You do see Xavier Rongo-Brungi. Applegate's right there. Here comes Evan Stewart a little farther back. Now we did see Trent Johns run into issues back here. Let's take a look at the 8 right as Johns trying to keep this thing rolling, trying to keep this M&M's 8 ride pointing the right direction here throughout this race, and unfortunately right here gets a little sideways in virtually the same thing as what we saw for Michael Alexic earlier. Kind of just sliding it in there, big contact. Now, luckily enough for the 8 ride, that was out at corner number 15, and he was able to kind of roll down to pit road and try to get this thing repaired. Did not have to tow it, so that's a great break for him, but still a ton of damage on that race car. Then we did see Evan Stewart. Now, luckily enough for Stewart, he was able to keep on going, but he did run into some issues here himself in the Fish Speed number 37 ride. Let's take a look here as he was right there with Applegate running in that 5th position, and he goes for a little slide, has to cut through the corner there of quarter 12. That seems to be a problem area here this evening. Now, luckily enough, no contact, no damage, able to keep on with it here this evening. Now, the same thing cannot be said for a driver like Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson going to run into some issues here. Let's take a look at the number 51 ride. So Mickelson just trying to keep this ride pointing the right direction. Loses the rear end right here. Goes for a quick loop around. Now, doesn't have a ton of damage on this race car. He's still trying to get it pointing the right direction. Has a little bit of damage on the right front. I believe he's just going to tow it off the racetrack there. So, not too sure. I mean, nothing really wrong with that car. Maybe just does not like road courses or does not like this road course, as we do see the van number 64 ride, the Alabama machine, make a little contact there with the outside fence, kind of get nosed into the concrete barrier there, and unfortunately, that car does go around. And for the Alabama ride, luckily enough, not major damage. He's able to get it rolling quickly again and right back into the battle. So no harm, no foul there for Trevor Dyer. But Dyer does end up losing a couple spots out there on the racetrack, as we do see Grant Applegate. Now Applegate's going to run into problems. Let's take a look here at the 57 ride. Is Applegate going to run into issues here as well? I believe this is down into corner number 3. Oh, he takes the wall. Oh, this is a big hit here. Let's take another look at it. Another angle in at the 57 ride of Grant Applegate down into corner number 3. Cooks it in there a little too deep. Ends up into the tire barriers, into the outside fence. Pretty solid damage on that 57 ride. He's backed into the wall. Here comes Evan Stewart on and around him. So Stewart picks up an extra spot. And I think as the 57 ride tries to get rolling here, obviously the damage now to this race car and the loss of that speed momentum opens up the door for the 27 of Jack Buelty to get around him, and now we will see also the number 11 of Jaden Browder getting around him here as well. So Browder jumps up into 6. Big movers out there on the racetrack. Browder's up 7 positions to start this race. Landon Burbage also up 7 spots, looking to make it 8 here if he can work his way around Austin Thompson, as the Prince's Towing number 2 ride rolls there in position number 9. He wants that 8th position though, and Austin Thompson's going to give him a fight for it out there on the speedway, as each driver continue to do a fantastic job as we inch closer and closer towards the end of stage number 1. Is here's Mr. Wood down through corner number 12, hits his marks, doesn't make any mistakes. The Outlier Speedco 16 machine gets on rolling once again, as Matthew Wood out in front has a 10-second lead. 10-second gap here for Matthew Wood back to our second place driver, Joseph Smith. I mean, that's a long distance. That is a big gap between him and our race leader, Xavier. A couple seconds back there of Mr. Smith. Another 10.8 seconds back. You do see Evan Stewart there in 4th. It's another gap back to Jack Buelty in the 5th position. That is a gap of another 7.5 seconds, just over 7 seconds. We do see Jaden Browder and Applegate right there, ready to pounce here, ready to see if they can try to work their way around this 27 ride or try to get back around him if you're Applegate after giving up some of those positions. But we do see another driver run into some problems. Luckily enough, doesn't look like any major damage or issues. Looks like maybe a single spin there for the 61 ride of Lucian Thompson here this evening. So Lucian running into some early issues here as well. Scored back in that 13th spot, as we do see Jordan Fisher has worked his way back up into 11th here. He's gotten back around the 60 rider Ryan Haller, so Haller does fall back to 12th. Fisher now in 11th. Now he's only about 8 seconds back of Trevor Dyer for the 10th spot here on the Speedway in our last stage point available here today. So, here at stage number 1 at least, not just today. He's still got a chance in stage number 2, but for Matthew Wood, I mean, as long as he doesn't make any major mistakes, if he doesn't run into any huge issues, I think for the 16 ride, he is kind of sitting in a golden position with such a big lead, such a big gap. You got to imagine that he is going to take his chances with making the pit stop with 2 laps to go here before the end of the stage. Get topped up on fuel, get the tires that you need, and hopefully that anyone else that stays out, that steals stage points from you, that hopefully you can kind of use it to your advantage here as the 16 ride just, man, smooth through it, man. Smooth through it, hitting his marks, not making any major mistakes. You do see a little tire spin here and there, but just shows you how much he is just trying to push this 16 ride, trying to continue to grow that lead. And I'm sure for him, I mean, it's a big move as the 5 ride of Xavier Rugglebruggy missed a bit of that corner back there. I believe that is corner number 12. Has to check up ever so slightly, and there it is. There's the check up. He rolls into the throttle, serves that penalty, and gets rolling here again under full speed. Unfortunately, does lose a little bit more time there to Joseph Smith. Smith, though, still quite a ways back behind our race leader, Matthew Wood. 13 seconds, almost 14 seconds here between Wood and Smith out there on the racetrack, as Greg Dyer says, Jesus, rename this track the Widowmaker. We're watching a bunch of really good drivers taking damage. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely call it the Widowmaker. That's a good one for it. I mean, essentially being a naval base. I mean, I'm sure they probably got a couple airplanes or boats or something that may be called that as well, sitting around this racetrack. Now, we do see Stephen Blevins also down pit road here. Looks like he has gotten some pretty solid right front damage on that number 15 ride, and unfortunately for the Skyline machine, he is now parked down pit side as well, as I believe Trent Johns, Wyatt Mickelson, Nicholas Wheeler's back out there rolling, so Wheeler's sticking with it. Aiden Luke is still down pit side trying to get his car repaired. Bogart, Michael A. is down pit side. We do see Cooper Goodwin also has not joined this race. So, I mean, we technically had 22 drivers load into this one with Wheeler still rolling out there. I mean, well, it'll be interesting to see if we get Blevins, Johns, Mickelson, you know, Aiden Lucas, Bogart, any of these drivers back into it. But we start with 22. I believe we got 15 drivers still active out there on the speedway. We got a few that are down pit side, but I'm not sure if they are going to rejoin this race or not. For the 16 run of Matthew Wood, though, he says, all right, well, that's a few less cars, a few less drivers that he's got to deal with when he has to work his way potentially through lap traffic, which is definitely going to be a possibility here this evening as he'll get ready to click off lap number 10. We'll have 3 laps left to go here in this stage when he hits the start-finish line. And it's going to be interesting as he heads down through corner number 13, 14, and 15 here at Navel Base Coronado. He heads into our final corner here in corner number 16. Back down across the line. First 10 laps of the day are in the history books. So 10 laps completed, all 10 laps being led by our pole sitter, Matthew Wood, as he has now etched his name a little farther into the field here as he finds himself 15 plus seconds ahead of Joseph Smith. Smith quite a ways back there, just across our finish line, just through corner 1. Here comes that 5 ride of Rugglebruggy, Jaden Browder, our 4th place driver now. Browder hasn't even hit the start finish line. This just shows you the gap that Matthew Wood has on some of these drivers right now, as you finally see there's Jaden Browder and Evan Stewart heading across the start-finish line, completing their 10th lap here this evening. Jack Bultey's right there with him, trying to reel him in as Browder up to 4th. Evan Stewart now falling back to 5th here. Did get a piece of that concrete pit wall, and unfortunately you do see a little bit of right front damage there. That may affect the steering and the handling of that race car. We'll see how much that does affect it as Jack Bultey looks to try to take advantage of it, wanting to work his way inside the top 5, wanting to pick up some extra stage points here himself. Applegate's a little farther back. He's still got some pretty solid damage on his race car. Unfortunately, he's fallen quite a ways behind Stewart and Bulte out there on the racetrack, as Jack did really have to get stopped right there into that last corner. Unfortunately, he did kind of get a look at him, kind of really get checked up, kept himself out of the fence, but did give up a lot of time there to Evan Stewart. That may have been what Evan needed to try to keep him back there at bay and to hang on to the fifth position here in our first stage of the evening as they head down through the Red Bull Racing corners here at Navel Base Coronado. They take a nice run right back down in here into the Camping World section, and for Matthew Wood, he's already pretty much ready to click off the next lap as he does start to roll into a little bit of lap traffic, as that's Wheeler right there in front of him through corner number 13, 14, and 15 here at Naval Base Coronado. Back down across the line, just misses the sand barriers on pit entries. You do see the 41 tag the pit wall right there. That was a pretty good swag for the 41 right as he moves up the racetrack, allows the 16 to take the inside lane. He'll allow our race leader to just scoot on right by him there. And I think for Wheeler, he knew, all right, I'm already multiple laps down. No sense in trying to put up a fight or put the 16 Rhino Wood into a difficult position out there on the speedway. But there's only 2 laps left to go here in this stage. 2 more laps left to duke it out as we do see Stephen Blevins rolling back out there. So good to see Blevins does rejoin the action here this evening. Wheeler's still rolling here as well. So we do have 16 drivers still competing here this evening. Unfortunately for Trent Johns, Wyatt Mickelson, Jason Bogart, Michael Alexich, and Cooper Goodwin, their nights have come to an end. For Aiden Lucas, I'm not sure if we're going to see this 34 ride back out there. There's a ton of damage on that 34 ride, but for Wood, still sitting pretty. We do see Jordan Fisher, though. He's able to work his way around Trevor Dyer for the 10th spot here on the speedway. So for Fisher, he's at least back inside our top 10. So maybe a stage point still here for the number 39 ride. Now he's got about 4 seconds to try to reel in this number 23 of Austin Thompson in the 8 ride of Landon Burbage. He may have enough time to catch up to those guys, man. He's still running some really, really solid lap times out there on the speedway. And it'll be fun to see if he can reel them in. But Matthew Wood, man, has just been so stout lap after lap after lap. Now I think the tire fall off has kind of slowed him down just a little bit, but still running really, really solid lap times. Last lap he ran a 2:13 flat. Everyone else was running 2:14s into the 2:15s, even for some drivers running 2 minute 17 seconds, 2 minute 20 seconds, 2:16s, 2:18s. So, I mean, he has got a stranglehold over this field. I mean, even just running a second faster than Joseph Smith here after 11 laps of racing action. Our second place driver showing that he doesn't have a whole lot left in the tank to get after him or try to make something happen late in this stage. And I think he just kind of settled in right now, knowing that his second place may be the best he can get, as we do see Wood takes off another lap here. Lap number 12 now completed. We start our 13th lap and our final lap of stage number 1. As we do take a look back here, Evan Stewart going to run into more issues. Let's take a look here at the 37 ride as the fish speed breaks. 37 heads down through corner number 13, 14, and 15. Unfortunately, just kind of lose the rear end, getting back onto the throttle right there. Gets up into the concrete fence. There's some pretty solid damage and contact for him. Now, luckily enough, he does get it rolling a little bit more, but I believe he runs into more issues here shortly thereafter. Let's keep an eye on this 37 machine as they head up over the hill right there. Big jump out of these race cars, and I think you're going to see the 37 right here. Yeah, just gets in there, overcooks it into the corner. Unfortunately, does get a little bit of contact there into the tire barriers, but so doesn't Applegate. Oh, man. Second time right here we've seen Applegate make this mistake. Shoots it into the corner a little bit too far, and unfortunately ends up into the tire barriers. That was a big hit to the right front, right rear right there. That is going to cause a ton of damage there for Applegate that he'll have to try to get repaired during our during our stage break right here to get this thing fixed back up. Now, we did see Stephen Blevins also run into issues. Let's take a look here at Blevins through corner 1, rolling back down into corner number 2. Okay, I think maybe he's just blinking. Okay, so he's running into some connection issues there. Now, Wheeler did have an issue. Let's take a look here at Wheeler quickly as he's going to run into another problem. This is Joseph Smith, our second place driver, reeling into him right here, and he's just going to lose the rear end and gets into the fence there a little bit. Slight contact for him, but no major damage. And then you do see the caution flag already out as well. So for Matthew Wood, he's going to win this stage even before hitting the line here. As there he is at a corner 16, back down across the line. The caution flag is out. The stage has come to a close. It's a great break for Thaddeus Friel, as Friel was very close to potentially going a lap down right there. I believe he should be able to get around the pace car right here. He'll get the A-OK to get rolling, and luckily enough does keep himself on the lead lap here this evening. So at least have 12 drivers on the lead lap for the restart. I believe Lucian Thompson is in the lucky dog position, but we did have another driver up towards the front of the field here run into issues. Man, having such a good race. We're going to watch the 11 ride here at Jaden Browder. You can already see some of that damage down at a corner number 1. Here at Navel Base Coronado gets in there, kind of loses the rear end a little bit, slides in deep, and unfortunately cannot make the corner, slams into the concrete wall there on the outside of corner number 1. And for Jaden Browder, that entire left front absolutely tore apart on the FedEx Cares number 11 ride, man. That is a huge hit there for Browder. I do believe that may take him down behind pit wall and out of this race. I believe he has now exited the racing surface here. Man, there's a lot of tore up race cars, chat. This is starting to look more like a short track when you look through some of these drivers here. Lucian Thompson's car absolutely tore apart here, as well as maybe a little damage here on Joseph Smith. Maybe, yeah, a little left front damage there for the Rush Hour Karting number 31 machine. So our second place driver's got a little contact with a fence out there on the racetrack. Now the number 41 right behind him, that is Nicholas Wheeler. You can see the damage there on the Micro Center Computers and Electronics 41 ride. The 5 machine looking pretty solid there of Xavier Ruggle-Bruggy. Fenders are all still on it. And then you do see Jack Buelty. Buelty's got some damage on that left front. I believe Evan Stewart's got some damage on the right front of this 37 ride. So does an Applegate. Heavy damage there on the right side of that race car. Landon Burbage has got some damage on the nose, but looks like the fenders, for the most part, are all pointing in the right direction. Jordan Fisher, who finishes this stage off in position number 8. He's looking good. He's looking strong out here. No damage this time, but unfortunately did have to make that emergency pit stop during that stage to get damage repaired. But able to rebound nicely there for an 8th place finish. Right side damage there for Austin Thompson, Trevor Dyer. We saw him run into his issues, but for that Veterans and Affiliated Networks number 64 ride, rounds out our top 10 here, earning stage point number 10 this afternoon for the 64 machine as well. But a lot of carnage, a lot of tore up race cars, and as Greg Dyer said it in the comment section here this afternoon, we are going to change the name of this racetrack to the Widowmaker. It is definitely a car taker, that is for certain, as there is a lot of drivers parked down behind pit wall and getting damage repaired. Some drivers have already finish their race. I believe Browder's taking his car off the racetrack here. We still see a few drivers trying to catch up to the rear of the field here. That's Stephen Blevins, Thaddeus Friel Jr. He's still trying to catch up to the rear of the field right here, as well as still got a little bit of a distance to go to catch up to them, as our race leader Matthew Wood sees his 16-second advantage kind of evaporate right there. So 16 seconds out the window, and now he's going to have Smith, Ruggle-Bruggy, Buelty, Stewart, Applegate, all these drivers right back to his rear bumper for another start here, a restart this afternoon at Naval Base Coronado. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, the intensity is going to ramp up. Drivers kind of know what they have and what they need to do here if they want a chance or an opportunity to try to, gain a few positions, try to get a better finish here in our second stage. Is that track position that's going to be key as Wood, Smith, the entire field hits pit road here on the front straightaway at Naval Base Coronado. Lucian Thompson will get the wave around the free pass back on the lead lap here. So that's a great break for the 61 ride as there's the wave for him. So he'll get back on the throttle. Now he's got a long distance around this racetrack to get back to pit road, get a pit stop in, then catch up to the rear of the field for the restart here this evening as here they come down into their pit stalls. And it's not an easy pit road to hit, that is for certain. These drivers not used to pitting on the right hand side, so whole totally different ball game when it comes to tires, fuel, all these pit stops. And obviously now for Wood, Smith, Xavier Rogobrucki, they're able to get rolling pretty quickly. Jordan Fisher comes out in position number 4. Take a look at all these other drivers. Applegate, Stewart, Beauty, Thompson, Trevor Dyer, Haller, Burbage, Thaddeus Friel Jr., even see Blevins down there as well as Nicholas Wheeler, all trying to get some damage repaired, all trying to get their cars fixed up and ready to roll here for this restart as a drag race out of the pits. And it looks like Ryan Haller going to come out of the pits in the 5th position. So for Ryan Haller, great pit stop right there. Comes out in the 5th position. He'll hope to try to hang on to that spot here throughout this second stage, trying to earn some big stage points here for that Kroger 60 ride here this evening. As Burbage right there behind him, our winner from last night, the Premium Stock Car Racing League. He'll restart there in 6th. We take a look here. Applegate still in there. Evan Stewart, Jack Bulty, so many of these other drivers still down pit road, still getting their cars fixed up and worked on. And luckily enough here, this is such a big racetrack that they got a lot of time to kind of sit down pit side, get their repairs, and then get rolled back in on the racetrack here without losing a lap here on the speedway. The only thing with the this big racetrack is that the caution laps do take a very, very long time. In behind that safety car, man, it is going to take a minute or two here, really probably about 3 minutes to 4 minutes to kind of work your way around the racetrack as they are maybe just around the halfway marker here, somewhere around that halfway point on the racing surface out there on the speedway to kind of, make our way around the racetrack back to the start-finish line. So you got a huge gap, a huge area that you can kind of just sit back, relax, and get ready to get rolling here again on the racetrack. As we do see Trevor Dyer comes out of the pits back in 7th. Thaddeus Friel Jr. there in position number 8 here for this restart as Evan Stewart comes out of the pits back in the 9th position. He'll be looking to gain some track position out there on the speedway as... all right, let's get a quick word in from our sponsors over at KK Woodscapes Original Trophies. Let's get a quick word in from them as we get ready to rock and roll. We get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Don't go anywhere as you do not want to miss the craziness that's about to ensue here on this restart in just a couple minutes from now.
Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep the feet. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, added flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Alrighty, we got them stacked up, racked up, ready to rumble again here this evening from Navel Base Coronado, the Coronado Street Course here this evening as these drivers get ready to get back into the action, get ready to fire off for stage number 2. As they start our second stage, they will complete lap number 16, which will leave us, I believe, 13 laps again to run here in stage number 2. So another 13 lap run to the end of our second stage of the day for each and every one of these drivers. I mean, they kind of know what the game plan. They know what they had to do there in stage number 1. You almost got to recreate that. Hope for maybe better results or the same results for some out there on the speedway here throughout our second stage of the day. Some fun facts here about Navel Base Coronado. So the track is 3.4 miles long, so that's a pretty decent racetrack. That's a huge racetrack, really, when you think of it. Even probably, I believe, bigger than a lot of the other NASCAR road courses that we do run. So that's very, very big. That is a long racetrack, man, especially here for us Canadians. 5.472 kilometers is absolutely insane. But it's 16 challenging corners here at Naval Base Coronado, running across active base roadways and aircraft runways, which is really, really cool. The start-finish line there, named after Commander Theodore G. Ellison, is the Navy's first aviator. That's a pretty neat fact right there. Carrier corner number 5 out there on the speedway. Sharp left-hand turn position right alongside a ducked nuclear aircraft carriers is another really cool thing there. We got a great look and really cool looks at those naval base carriers, the nuclear aircraft carriers out there as well. And then Runway Road, which is turn 14, traverses the northern end of runway 1836 at Halsey Field. Interesting. Very interesting. As here we go, ready to rumble, ready to roll. Here again for stage number 2 is down through quarter 16. Wood through that restart zone. It's a great launch, a great jump in quickly. Leads us back down to quarter number 1. Single file is usually what you want to see, but for some, double file just does not work out, as we do see the 98 ride. That was Thaddeus Friel Jr. get a piece of that corner 1 fence. And now look out, here comes Haller right at you. Haller cooked it in there a little too deep, had to lock it down. Luckily enough, uses the runoff right there to avoid any major contact or damage. Now, unfortunately, does fall all the way back to that 13th position on the speedway, but that car still has all 4 fenders on it, still rolling nicely here, and not too far away from the tail end of the field is Wood out in front. Once again, just trying to pick right up where he left off, and that is trying to pull away from Joseph Smith out there on the speedway. Smith trying to stick right there with him. Jordan Fisher there in third. What does Fish have here? We've seen him run some really solid lap times as well, be right there competitively with Matthew Wood. Now, Matthew does have the best lap time here in this entire race. Ran a 2-minute 11-second.09 millisecond lap out there on the speedway. Fisher's quickest lap time is a 2:11.74. So roughly about 0.6 of a second faster for Matthew Wood on his best lap time compared to Jordan Fisher. So you got to wonder if Fisher still needs that extra little bit. Maybe the clean air may help him out a little bit here in trying to run a quick time and be competitive there with Matthew Wood as he has made his way around Joseph Smith, but Wood already stretching out that race lead to 1.3 seconds. So already stretching out the race lead, already looking to try to pull farther and farther away from Jordan Fisher. As we do take a look back here, Trevor Dyers ran into some problems, heavy damage on that right side of the number 64. Take a look back here. We did see Nicholas Wheeler in the 41 ride, that micro center 41 run. Going to run into some more issues here as he heads down into the corner and just going to lose the rear end right here. We saw him do that earlier. Luckily enough, the 15 of Blevins able to avoid him. Ryan Haller also avoids running through that 41 right. So that's a great break there that they didn't get any damage. But we will take a look here at the number 64 machine of Trevor Dyer here. Dyer having a great run. He's got Evan Stewart looking to his inside, shoots it into the corner, and unfortunately the thing just does not turn. Cooks it in there a little too deep, and that was a big hit there for Trevor Dyer. Man, that was a huge whack to the right-hand side of this 64 machine. Let's take a look here at it. Oh, yeah, just locks it up a little bit. Just can't get it checked up, and unfortunately, the Roll Tide ride, the Alabama machine, tore up out there on the speedway, man. That was a big hit there for Trevor Dyer as he sits back in the 9th position. You got to wonder how much that damage may affect his ride later in this run. But for right now, it's Matthew Wood out in front, continuing to lead the charge here this evening. Yo, what's good, Benny? Benny in the chat. Ben Needus in the chat here showing the love says, what up, Peacemaker? What up? Ben, how are you, mister? How you doing this afternoon? Bill Fisher says, okay, Jordan, time to drive your race. Time to get into the action here. Time to make some moves and see if that number 39 ride can hunt down our race leader, Mr. Matthew Wood, out there on the speedways. Matthew Wood out in front again here, just kind of pulling away from the field. He is now out to a 3-second gap between him and the number 39 ride of Jordan Fisher, as Fisher rolls there in 2nd position on the speedway as they head down through some of the runway here at the Naval Base. You can see the helicopters, some of the airplanes there in the background as they exit the runway here and head back down into corner number 13, 14, and 15. They'll head down towards where pit road sits and where our final corner states. This is corner number 16. Back down across the start finish line. Fisher pushes it in there, slides up, but luckily enough, avoids contact with that pit wall. That is a concrete barrier. It does not move, and luckily enough, he's able to escape any major damage and keep that car rolling. But for Matthew Wood, last lap around, Wood just laid down his quickest lap of this race. That is not a great sign for the rest of the drivers back there behind him once this number 16 machine starts to lay down quick times. But I mean, you look through the field, Jordan Fisher, Joseph Smith, Xavier Rugglebrunky, Landon Burbidge, our top 5, all laid down their best laps of this race. Austin Thompson, Thaddeus Friel Jr., and Ryan Haller all laid down their best lap times that last lap as well. So huge laps here by these drivers, but for Matthew Wood, ran a 2:09.37. Jordan Fisher, second quickest lap time here on the day, ran a 2:11.48. That is 2 seconds slower than Matthew Wood's best lap time. So last lap, Fisher, who ran his best lap of this race, was still 2 seconds off the pace to this 16 ride, and that's what has allowed Matthew Wood to pull out to almost a 5-second lead between him and Fisher out there on the speedway. As Carol in the chat says, "Come on, Xavier, let's see what you can do tonight." And Carol's watching you. Let's go, she says. Well, Zay has had a pretty solid run here. He's been running in that third, fourth position all night long. It was third throughout the entire stage. Now with Jordan Fisher racing his way up there, working his way into second. Xavier has fallen back into fourth here, but this is kind of right where he's been all evening long, as we do see Landon Burbage now into the fifth position here. He's got Evan Stewart right there with him. Stewart, though, ready to pounce, ready to try to take that fifth spot back away from Burbage out there on the speedway. Grant Applegate a little farther back there in seventh with Jack Buelte, Austin Thompson. Ryan Haller's a little farther back there in that Kroger number 60 machine, but rolls right now in that 10th position here on the speedway. Thaddeus Friel Jr.'s there in 11th. Lucian Thompson a little farther back there in 12th. And unfortunately for Trevor Dyer, we saw Dyer already run into the one issue. He ends up running into some more problems here. With that damage on the 64 ride, it's just going to compound into more issues. The handling, the drive, and the brakes potentially going away here in the 64 ride. Cooks it into the corner a little too far right there. Another big hit into the tire barriers for that 64 ride. And unfortunately, that one kind of killed the left front right here. You can take a look at the left front, not even turning on that race car. And unfortunately, that's just going to continue to keep on affecting his ride. He's going to wash up the racetrack here. And unfortunately, another little piece of contact into a fence. He's just trying to limp it back down pit lane, trying to keep himself somewhat in this race. And I mean, I don't know how he's going to be able to got to battle back from that one, man. That is a huge, huge length. That may be a very extended trip down pit side. Is that left front not even turning? And I think we're going to see him run into another issue here in just a little bit. There it is. Cooks it in there. Oh, I might have gotten a piece of the fence right there into the tire barriers. It was really, really close, but you can see this car struggling, trying to make it around the speedway, trying to make it back down pit side here to get this thing fixed up. And now, luckily enough, he has been able to hit pit road. He finds himself down pit side, though, and already falling at least a lap down, potentially going to go multiple laps down out there on the racetrack here in a quick hurry, as he will be down there getting that thing repaired for a very long time. Now, we did see Grant Applegate also run into problems here down into corner number 1. I'm expecting this to be in corner number 2 here. This is normally where we see Applegate run into issues. We've already seen him make a couple problems here in corner number 1 or corner number 2, and there it is again. Kind of got in there a little too far. Luckily enough, just a slight contact there into the tire barriers. Not as hard as he's hit it a couple more times back behind him. You do see Austin Thompson go for a loop-de-loop right there. Just got in there a little too far himself. Luckily enough, no major contact or damage for that 23 machine, but does fall back into the 10th position as Ryan Haller will be able to work his way around him. As you see the 23 kind of cooking into the next corner. Does get slight contact there, but no major damage again to the 23 ride, but does fall to 10th. Haller moves forward another spot and up into position number 9 on the speedway. But out in front, it's all Matthew Wood, and what I would almost call the Matthew Wood 45 here this evening, man. It has been all 16 all day long. This is normally what we kind of saw last season here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League, especially when it came to some of these road course races, is just the pure dominance out of this 16 machine of Matthew Wood. And this is really not what these other drivers want to see. As this season's kind of went on and progressed, we've seen Matthew kind of have some lackluster runs. We've seen him have some pretty pretty mediocre finishes out there on the speedway. If he starts to build up that momentum, starts to find his groove and start to get back into that rhythm that we've seen before into this 16 ride, could be an onslaught of victories coming out of this race car. But we have seen him also make huge mistakes when it comes to these road courses. We've seen him take himself out of these races. One wrong move, one wrong corner, it could potentially tear this car up, and he could be parked down pit side for an extended period of time, like you see Trevor Dyer or that 34 of Aiden Lucas, who only ran 4 laps here this evening, still down pit road, still trying to get that thing fixed up. Now, Wheeler's still out there. I believe Browder has called it a day, so I believe we only have, at this point, 14 drivers still rolling on the speedway. Oh, man, it's crazy. Start with 22, 14 still in it to win it here this evening. Unfortunately for Lucian Thompson, he finds himself here. He's still in the lead lap, so Lucian's still in it. Oh, no. Talking about Lucian, and all of a sudden, here he goes around. Let's take a look back at it as he still has a little bit of left front damage here, and unfortunately, that damage may have just been a little bit worse, and that was a huge hit there for him. You see the smoke rolling out of that Napa Auto Parts number 61 ride, and it looks like he is going to tow this race car down pit road right here. I don't think he's going to make it very far out there on the speedway. He's trying to keep it rolling. He's trying to keep it going, but it's not going to go very, very fast. Take a look at this thing, man. It's shortened up by about 2-3 inches out there on the racetrack. And Carroll says, I just looked at the track, Xavier, and man, this is a crazy track. Be careful. Yeah, definitely a crazy one. A pretty wild speedway here, man. Definitely a great addition to the NASCAR schedule. And the 61 ride, I don't know if his night's going to continue here. If he can limp it back down pit road, he may be able to rejoin us at some point in time, but he's going to be really, really careful picking up any kind of speed or anything else, because the motor could explode at any time for this 61 ride and definitely end his night. But right here, he heads down through corner number 13, 14, and 15. And there's pit road, so he is able to make it pit side as Sure Haller says, come on, Ryan Haller, keep it steady. This track is a little tricky in spots. It's definitely tricky in a lot of spots out there. And we may see another driver, unfortunately, get claimed to that trickiness as Lucian Thompson will hit his pit stall. The crew will go to work as Matthew Wood out in front now has about a 12-second lead between himself and Jordan Fisher. So Wood just continuing to pull farther and farther away from the rest of this field here, man. Just leaving these guys back there in his dust. For Jordan Fisher, Joseph Smith, Xavier Rongo-Brugge, all still tight together there in second, third, and fourth position here on the speedway. Landon Burbage and Evan Stewart a little farther back there in fifth and sixth. Applegate is 6 seconds back behind them. They're in that seventh spot with Jack Bealty. Austin Thompson's worked his way back around Ryan Haller for the ninth position. Haller's right there, though, in that 10th spot, about 12 seconds behind them. We see our 11th place driver, Thaddeus Friel. They're in that 11th spot here on the speedways. And you see Lucian Thompson still down pit side, still a ton of smoke burrowing out of that race car, man. It is unfortunately probably going to be a night ender for the 61 ride. I don't believe that iRacing is going to let that car back it onto the racetrack, and I believe that is going to be a lot of damage to get repaired to try to get him back into the action here this evening. Now, we have seen Nicholas Wheeler go back around again out there on the racetrack. Luckily enough, no major damage here to that Micro Center number 41 ride, and good job here with Wheeler kind of sticking with it. Right out of the get-go, running into issues, having damage, having to serve a black flag penalty for the 41 ride. I mean, he's going to sit pretty right here. I mean, you know, he's in 15th, but I mean, it could have been a 21st position finish for him here this evening. But with all these other drivers, Michael, Jason Bogart, Aiden Lucas, Wyatt Mickelson, Trent Johns, now Jaden Browder all run into problems, and he's been able to leapfrog all those drivers and now find himself here in 15th. And if he keeps on rolling for at least another lap or two, there is a potential that he picks up another spot, leapfrogging the 64 ride ride of Trevor Dyer and potentially an opportunity to leapfrog Lucian Thompson out there on the racetrack as well. So even after all the mayhem and chaos that he went through early on in this race, the 41 ride could potentially come home with a very solid top 15 run, especially if there are more drivers that run into issues. I mean, it's not without a question that he could maybe end up with a top 10 run here today as Matthew Wood completes lap number 23. So 23 laps completed. Still, I believe, 22 laps left to go here in this race. 22 more laps left to duke it out here in this one. And for Matthew Wood, he sits out front. He's feeling A-okay. He's feeling good here at the front of the field and just continue to try to click off these laps, continue to try to inch a little closer here to the checkered flag this afternoon as he sits at the front of the field, wanting to try to put himself into the winning position here, and he's done it all night long. And I mean, it's going to take, I don't know, would a miracle be the wrong word to use? I don't know. It's going to have to be something special from somebody to try to leapfrog this number 16 ride and keep him out of the winner's circle. Even if you do pass him on the restart here for the stage, I'm not sure if you can hold him off. He's just been so stout, so strong all day long that it's going to be really, really hard for somebody to try to get around him here and try to beat him here this afternoon. But it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how that one plays out. So you just never quite know. It'll be fun, though, as man, it could be a couple drivers, could be a couple cats that maybe have a little something up their sleeve for late in this race. Maybe they can make the right moves, the right calls, and put themselves into the right spot late in this race. So we'll have to wait and see if that is the case here. If maybe they're playing a little coy right now, letting them get a false sense of hope out there on the speedway, and maybe work their way around him here in just a little bit. We'll keep an eye on it, though. We'll have to see. We'll have to take a look and watch if one of these drivers can kind of make the changes or change themselves, change their own drive out there on the speedway to be able to work their way around this 16 machine. But for right now, I mean, he's just run away with it. I thought Fisher would be there. I thought Fisher would give him a run for his money, especially even just after the stage. I mean, he restarted back in fourth. He made pretty quick work of Joseph Smith and Xavier Rungelbrugge. I thought for certain he'd be right there, hassling the back bumper of that 16 ride of Matthew Wood. Now he's pulled away from Zay and Smith as they battle back here for that third position. Xavier has worked his way into third as now Smith takes the outside fence. They're exiting corner number one. Pretty solid contact there for me. Gonna wonder if that's going to cause some wheel damage here and potentially could really affect the handling of this race car. Could Onslaught more issues? And now you see Burbage slide through corner number one. There's the 37 ride of Stewart. He gets a piece of corner number one right there as well. A lot of drivers having some issues there through our first two corners of this race, only after 24 laps of racing action here this evening. A couple big hits out there on the speedway, but for Matthew Wood, he's sitting out front. He's got 14 and a half seconds between himself and Jordan Fisher. So, I mean, a huge gap still, a huge advantage between Wood and Fisher out there on the speedway. 19 seconds between Wood and Xavier Rungelbrugge and that number 31 of Joseph Smith. 28 seconds back to our fifth place driver, Landon Burbage. So there's some big gaps here. There's definitely a cost for drivers to kind of try to change something up, maybe make a bit of a game plan if they can maybe beat him at a pit road, trying to flip this stage. You pit a couple laps prior to the stage break. Maybe you can kind of put yourself into a good position, but I think everyone is going to be tight on fuel. So I think the main goal is that you can make it here on fuel, and I think for both stages being 13 laps, we did see it did take probably about 3 laps between the end of stage number 1 to the start of stage number 2 was 3 laps under caution, but oh, Wood does get a piece of the pit wall right there. A little bit of right front damage. That could be the light some of these drivers need if he starts to wreck this race car. If he puts himself into the fence like that and destroys that right front, could potentially take himself out of this race, and that may be exactly what some of these drivers need, as we do see Jordan Fisher hitting pit road. So Fisher does hit pit lane right here. I believe this might be a scheduled pit stop. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want you guys to take a good look right here. Stop what you are doing and look. Mr. Fisher in second. It's right on board here with him. The Fish Speed Brakes ride. The Garage61.net machine down into corner number 13. Oh! Gets in there a little too far. Makes some pretty solid contact with the tire barriers. Heavy rear end damage. Obviously a toe link, something broken in this 39 ride. It didn't look too bad, but unfortunately here for Jordan Fisher, he takes this car off the speedway. So looks like something in that left rear definitely snapped, or right rear broken here this evening. Probably rear end housing, something, and he tows this car out of the race and off the racetrack. Pit crew is gone. They've loaded up that car. They are already heading to the next speedway. Looks like Jordan Fisher has been claimed as the next victim of Navel Base Coronado here this evening, and unfortunately for the 39 ride, he is now done and out of this race. So Jordan Fisher behind pit wall and done for the day midway through our feature event here this evening, as Matthew Wood says, all right, now I've got myself an even bigger gap. 20 seconds between himself and our new second place driver, the number 5 ride of Xavier Rugglebruggy. Zay's up and into second, Smith right there with him in that third position, as Jordan Fisher's day has come to a close, and now we see the 41 ride right in front of these drivers run into some issues here himself. So more problems for the Micro Center number 41 ride. Let's play it back. Let's take a look, see what happens here as he shoots it into the exact same corner. We saw Jordan Fisher run into the problems, basically do the exact same thing, just this time you can see the tire marks right here as he slides through corner 13. Jordan Fisher's tire marks are right there already. The 41 about 2 feet farther to the left and just avoids the tire barrier there. Does not get the damage that we saw Jordan Fisher get, and for Nicholas Wheeler, he'll be able to continue on his race here this evening. Unfortunately for Jordan Fisher, the same cannot be said. For Matthew Wood, though, out in front of the field, 20-second gap here. He can just kind of take it easy, hit his mark, save this race car, make sure he does not make any mistakes, does not take himself out of this race. So I feel you're going to see this 16 ride really kind of just, may check up a little bit. May just kind of hang on to it, kind of keep rolling out there and not push too hard right now just to keep himself in this race. He doesn't have to really run super hard, and you're going to see that as Xavier Rugglebruggy is slowly but surely reeling him in. But you gotta wonder here if Zay and Smith get to battling, if one of them make any problem, if one of them run into an issue here, they could also have another big problem out there on the speedways. We do see Applegate into the outside fence here again. Some more damage to the right front of that 57 ride. So he's gotten into the wall again here at Naval Base Coronado. Definitely a struggle here for that 57 ride. A couple of the Fish Speed rides having issues here this evening, but for Applegate still hanging on to position number 7 out there on the speedway. Woods out front, Zay's there in second. This is a great battle between him and Joseph Smith. Back and forth, it is Evan Stewart who's able to jump into that 4th position. Landon Burbage sticks there in that 5th spot after losing a spot there to Evan Stewart. Jack Bulte's back in 6th with Applegate, Thompson, Haller, and Friel Jr. rounding out our top 10. Now for Friel, he's hoping that he can keep himself on the lead lap again here this evening, and for the 98 ride, still very much in it. I mean, there's been so much craziness, so much action that anything is possible. Anything can happen out there on the speedway. And as we see basically half our field kind of eliminating themselves and having issues out there on the racetrack here this evening, as I believe Wheeler, I mean, in a few laps, if he can keep himself out of issues, if he can keep his car pointed the right direction here this evening, still a couple more spots on the line. Still a couple more drivers that he can leapfrog and steal positions. He's up to 14th. He's worked his way around Trevor Dyer, who is still down pit side, getting his number 41 or 64 ride fixed up right there across the line. Passes the 61 ride, Lucian Thompson. Thompson still smoking badly down there on pit road. His car probably not going to get fixed before the end of this race. So Wheeler does jump into 13th now. If he can roll in at least another 3 laps, he can jump into 12th, leapfrogging Jordan Fisher out there on the speedway and at least gaining another position here this evening. Stephen Blevins is in the free pass spot, unfortunately multiple laps down, so he will not really get back into the battle, won't get back on the lead lap here this evening, but still looking to see if he can come out of this with a good solid finish. Right now in 11th, not a bad day at the speedway still for Blevins, but still a possibility for a top 10 if we see some problems back here deeper in the field, as you do see Joseph Smith trying to get after Xavier Rugglebrugge as they continue to duke it out here for position number 2. This is virtually the race for, I think, what they would consider the race win here this evening. I think Matthew Wood is kind of in his own ballpark, his own ball game here. I think they've just let him go, do his thing. I think these two are really battling here for what they're going to consider the win themselves. The non-road course ringers kind of duking it out here for position number 2. Zay able to get a couple good corners there. Smith sliding a little bit through the tires, and for the 31, does fall a couple car lengths back behind the 5 ride of Xavier Rugglebrugge, and back down across the line. Zay will see 2 laps left to go here in this stage, but out in front, Matthew Wood continues just to run his race, continues to click off these laps, continues to just kind of pull away from these guys. Even for a lap or two, seemed like he kind of kind of settled in, kind of slowed down a little bit. Thought maybe he was going to be kind of taking it easy, kind of sitting back, relaxing, and just allowing, these guys to maybe burn their stuff up. But now we do see some issues here for Ryan Haller. Oh no, Haller looks like maybe just a loop-de-loop here for the 60 machine. Let's take a look back at it, see what happens here. The 60 Ryan, so just coming out of the corner. Looks like he's just going to get back on the throttle, lose the rear end there a little bit there, going through the concrete. Now, luckily enough, no damage, no huge issue there for Haller, so that's a great break there for that 60 Ryan. Now, we did see Joseph Smith also running into some issues here after Zay had kind of pulled away from here a little bit. Smith maybe push it a little bit harder. Shoots it into corner number 1 right here. Loses that rear end. Goes for a slide. Does make some pretty solid contact into that corner 1 fence, man. That concrete barrier has gotten a workout here this evening as another driver ends up with some pretty solid damage down into that first corner. So now Smith with some heavy damage on this 31 ride. You gotta wonder how that may affect his ride late in this stage. And for Matthew Wood, he's just gonna say, thank you very much. He's just going to continue to hit his marks, not have a stress in the world. He's just out here for a nice little Sunday cruise at Navel Base Coronado here this evening. Navel Base Coronado, man, it's been a hell of a show for us so far, man. A lot of craziness, a lot of chaos out there on the racetrack, as Greg says, come on, Thaddeus, you're the last van driver still on the track. He is the last van driver still out there as the VAN machines, unfortunately, running into quite a bit of issues here this evening. Unfortunately, Michael already down pit side. We do see that VAN machine still down there as well of the 64 ride, but for Matthew Wood, he will complete our stage. Okay, so this stage, okay, yeah, it was lap 29. I was thinking it was lap 30 for the end of the stage break, but it's lap 29. So stage number 2 comes to a close. Matthew Wood with the stage win here. Xavier Rugglebrugge will come home in 2nd. Smith in 3rd. Evan Stewart will come home in 4th, with Landon Burbage across the line there in 5th. Jack Buelte crosses the line in that 6th position. And we see Applegate hitting pit road here. prior to crossing the line, he scored in 7th right now. Now, he should be far enough ahead to still finish the stage in that 7th position, but he is entering a closed pit road. This may still keep him back there. This still may put him at the rear of the field here. I'm not sure if he's trying to play a fast one on some of these drivers, maybe make a pit stop right at the get-go as the stage comes to an end and get an opportunity to give this car service and maybe leapfrog in front of Matthew Wood and them pitting under yellow. We'll have to wait and see. Austin Thompson does come home at 8th there in the stage. Haller down at a 16 across the line will come home 9th there in stage number 2. And for Thaddeus Friel Jr., still a top 10 run here as a lot of these other drivers have gotten tore up and are out of this race. For Friel, he is going to be able to just kind of hit his marks, keep on rolling here. Still got a little distance to go to get back to the start-finish line, but for the 98 ride, we'll head down through quarter number 13, 14, and 15. You'll head down to our final corner here at Navel Base Coronado and back down across the line here as he exits 16. You will finish off our 10th position, finishing stage number 2 there in 10th, earning our final stage point here of stage number 2 this afternoon. As Matthew Wood, though, out in front. Wood has got the race lead, and man, he's just looked strong all day long. He's led every single lap here this evening after qualifying on the pole. He also has the quickest lap of this race by 2 seconds quicker than anybody else here this evening. Only other driver that kind of got close to his lap time was Jordan Fisher, but that was still just a little over. It was about 2.11 seconds slower than Matthew Wood's quickest lap time. So, I mean, that just shows you the speed, the pace that Wood has out of this 16 machine. Came to Naval Base Coronado with a game plan and obviously all practiced up and ready to rock and roll, and he's looking to kind of do that again here this evening. Just an absolute picture-perfect race so far for Matthew Wood. As he keeps on rolling, everyone back behind the official iRacing pace car. We see the field kind of slowly but surely get caught up here. As here's Fisher now with these guys as well. Haller's right there. You do see everyone kind of cordial, lined back together and ready to get down pit road here, ready to make some pit stops. And it'll be interesting to see how that kind of works out for Applegate here, as he was already down pit side there as the stage came to an end. So we'll see where that kind of puts him for the restart. But for Matthew Wood, Xavier Rugglebrugge, Smith, and the rest of the field here, they will hit pit lane. Now we're still waiting for our 10th place finisher here, this 98 ride of Thaddeus Friel Jr. to catch up to the field here. He's still quite a ways back behind them as they are going to get ready to head down into quarter number 13, 14, and 15 and then into pit road. I'm not sure if he's even going to be able to catch them in time. You can see him just off in the distance. Still got a few corners left to go here before he's on the same straightaway as them. We'll see if he can catch the field. Okay, I think he can, as they're just going through 13, 14, and 15 right here, but here comes our race leaders. They do hit pit lane. I believe Thaddeus just able to catch up to the tail end of the field just as we hit pit road right here. So that's a pretty interesting call for these guys. So we do see Applegate earns a black flag here entering pit lane. I'm not sure what the black flag will be for. I'm not sure if that was potentially for his extra pit stop early on or what that may do here through the pit cycle. But for Matthew Wood and all these drivers, they will make that hard right-hand turn into their pit stalls here at Naval Base Coronado for their second pit stop of this race, and what could be potentially their final pit stop of this race. Is when we go back to green flag racing, should be, oh no, Stephen Blevins. I was waiting for somebody to kind of do this, and unfortunately, okay, so the 15 ride gets the wave around here. I believe he got the wave around, got the lucky dog, but you see the right front, already some major damage on it. You can see that right front is not even pointed the right direction here. Oh no, see it right there. Kind of pointed all the way to the left, or right, I guess technically, all the way to the right here. It's good for the right-hand turns, but the left-hand turns, this thing just does not want to turn very well. And as he goes to hit pit road, the car just does not turn. And as he hits the brakes, it misses the pit lane. He has to jump onto the binders here. Some pretty major damage for Steven. And he's struggling hard right here, trying to get this thing down pit side. It's going to take him a little while, maybe give him a couple chances, a couple opportunities here to try to get it down there, trying to get it pointed back in the right direction. With a broken right front here, that could keep him down pit lane for a very extended period of time as the crew will go to work trying to get that thing fixed back up and back out there. But I believe winning the race off of pit road is Matthew Wood, still down pit side. Xavier Roggelbroggi will consume the race lead. First time here this evening, we get a new race leader. It's from pit road, and it's Xavier Roggelbroggi who now has the race lead. Joseph Smith is in second. Jack Bulte's in third. Evan Stewart, Ryan Haller are top five here for the restart. Landon Burbage scored back in sixth with Austin Thompson there in seventh. Matthew Wood still down pit road here, so I'm not sure if he has slight damage on this 16 ride that he's trying to get taken care of, or just kind of allowing some more drivers to kind of get in front of him, maybe give him a little bit more of a challenge here throughout the final run of this race. But he is definitely spending a very long time down pit road, and this is going to put him a little deeper in the field, kind of into the Hornets' nest here. We'll have to wait and see if he can keep this thing clean and work his way through the traffic and out in front, as now, for the first time here this evening, he will not have clean air. He will not be in the top spot, and he's going to have to make some passes out there on the speedway. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get through it, as we do see Applegate back down there getting more repairs done to his race car. Blevins is down pit side. The crew is going to work, try to get this thing fixed back up and back into the battle, as Applegate's able to leave pit road. He's able to get back into the battle here this evening. Wood still down here on pit lane. I wonder if he's going to get rolling here anytime soon. The field's still quite a ways away from pit road, though, so he does have a lot of time still to kind of get that car repaired, to kind of get things, pointed back in the right direction, and any damages repaired here for that 16 machine. So we'll have to wait and see. This is definitely a surprise, though. I mean, maybe he had to use the bathroom. Maybe he had to take a bit of a break. Nonetheless, here, he's going to be down for a little while. And for the field, they're going to keep on rolling here for a little bit. So we're going to get a quick break in. We're going to get a quick drink in and maybe a quick little bathroom break as we'll get ready to rock and roll and get back to Green Flag Racing here in just a little bit. We'll get a quick word in from our sponsors over at KK Woodscapes Original Trophy.
Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Our final stage of the day is about to get underway as these drivers get ready to rumble here this evening for our closing laps here at Navel Base Coronado. Here this evening is our new race leader, ready for his first laps led under green flag racing, first bit under green flag racing as our race leader. We'll see how long he can hang on to it as Xavier Rungo Bruggy is our race leader. He will be the control car here on the restart. We'll fire first down through the restart zone here at Naval Base Coronado here this evening. Joseph Smith in second with Jack Buelty, Evan Stewart our top four. Ryan Haller will restart there in fifth with Austin Thompson to his outside in that sixth position. Landon Burbage, Thaddeus Friel Jr., Matthew Wood back there in the ninth position. Grant Applegate has to restart at the rear of the field in the 57 ride. Now we do see a lap down car there, unfortunately kind of in the middle of this action and kind of right in a couple of these drivers' ways. That's the 41 ride, and Nicholas Wheeler still rolling, still very much in this race, looking to keep himself in the battle here this evening. As here we go, back to racing action at Naval Base Coronado with the wheel-to-wheel racing league. As Xavier Rungo-Broggy's got the top spot, you see Smith get a little bit sideways down through corner number one. Luckily enough, able to keep himself out of the fence. And fortunately for Grant Applegate, not so lucky as he slides out of corner number one into the concrete safer barrier. Luckily enough, does avoid contact there into corner number two here in that 57 ride. But you take a look at Matthew Wood, who restarted there at the rear of the field there, quickly working his way through the traffic. We're only a few corners through it, and here he is already into position number four and looking for more as he's trying to chase down our top three and trying to work his way back to the front of the field. Now he does have a little bit of slight contact, a little bit of damage maybe there to that right front that could affect his ride, but we've seen him in both these stages open up double-digit second leads. So, I mean, I think for Zay, Smith, Evan Stewart, they're going to have to do everything they can to keep that 16 ride back there at bay, or hope that potentially Wood runs into issues and opens up the door for him, as we do see Ryan Haller now running into some problems here. Oh, no, Haller pushing hard here, unfortunately, into this corner, trying to keep the 23 ride back there at bay, locks up the tires here. Locks it up, car will not turn, and unfortunately drives head on into the safer barrier right there. Pretty solid front end contact there for the 60 right. You can see the front nose kind of pushed in there. That was a pretty solid hit. Luckily enough, it was squared off. So you're going to wonder if maybe that may not really take him out of this race. He may be able to keep on battling as Wood trying to keep himself battling here, trying to work his way to Evan Stewart. Did make a bit of a mistake there on that lap. Cut the course there a little bit. Unfortunately, did have to roll the throttle there, so gave up a little bit more time there to Evan Stewart and our race leaders, Xavier Ruggle-Brugge and Joseph Smith, as they down through corner number 13, 14, and 15 here at Navel Base Coronado will head back down into 16, and for the first time here this evening, across the line, lap leader under green flag conditions is not Matthew Wood. Xavier Ruggle-Brugge leads not only his, I think, third lap led here this afternoon, but technically his first lap led under green flag conditions. First lap led under green flag is, oh, contact. Evan Stewart takes out Matthew Wood. Not on purpose, but Matthew Wood's night may have just kind of come to a crashing end here. He's trying to make the pass here on Evan Stewart, and I believe Stewart is going to lose the rear end on corner exit right here. So the 37 trying to keep that 16 back there at bay, push a little too hard, lose the rear end, ends up clipping the 16 right of Matthew Wood here. That turns Matthew around into the outside fence. He landed Burbage drive through there as well. Pretty solid contact there for all three drivers, but you see Matthew pointed the wrong direction here. Has to try to get this thing turned around. Has to wait for the 23 right to get on by him. Able to quickly do a donut and get rolling here back in the 7th position, as I believe Austin Thompson shortly thereafter into corner number 2 here overcooks it into the second corner. He's going to drive the 23 into that safer barrier there. Luckily enough, just able to get checked up to avoid major damage, but does end up losing a spot again to Matthew Wood, as Wood does get back around him. But that contact between Wood and the 37 Evan Stewart finds Matthew Wood now back in position number 7 and 13 seconds behind Xavier Ruggle-Brugge. That may have been exactly what Ruggle-Brugge needed to keep Wood back at bay and to potentially win this race for the number 5 ride. Now, we still got to keep Joseph Smith back there at bay. We've seen these two be tight together all night long. They have been, you know, kind of back there, second and third, third and fourth. They've been right tight together for majority of this race. But now in a golden opportunity here, with Wood running into problems, now with the damage there on the race car as well, you got to wonder if Matthew will have enough car to battle back, to race his way back towards the front of the field to get back into the action here this evening. But also at the same point in time, he's got a big gap to have to make up here. And now he's going to start pushing a little harder, maybe making a little bit more mistakes here, as he knows he's got to make up a lot of ground. He's got to pass quite a few cars here again to try to race his way back to the front of the field here. As of right now, out of corner number 2 and into corner number 3 here in San Diego, he's got 12 seconds between himself and Xavier Ruggle-Brugge. So Zay has a 12-second gap here between himself and Matthew Wood. We'll have to wait and see in these closing laps. There's 11 laps left to go. If Matthew Wood can close that gap and reel in our race leader, Xavier Ruggle-Brugge, and if Zay can keep this 31 rider Smith back there at bay. Now, Smith does have some pretty solid damage on the front end of his race car, man. This thing is definitely fairly tore up. You take a look at the front end of it, man. Left front, right front, both with some pretty solid damage. You gotta wonder how the handling is going to be on this race car, especially as we continue to keep on clicking off laps, as we continue to get closer and closer towards that checkered flag. This car may get tougher and tougher to drive out there on the speedway. Landon Burbage there in third. He's looking to keep on working his way forward. I wonder if he's got something maybe left in the tank here to try to steal this race lead. As Smith did just miss the corner right there. He did get a bit of a hold penalty. So for Smith, he is going to have to slow down here on the speedway. I believe right there through that corner will technically have that penalty paid off, as he did have to slow down for the corner. I don't understand the yellow flags here for some of the drivers. When he cut the course, all you got to do is slow down enough that iRacing considers it enough out there. And every time we've seen one, virtually as you hit the next corner, you slow down to make the corner anyways. But that's enough of a slowdown that iRacing considers that as a, debt paid out there on the racetrack. It's not really any loss or any mistake. So, I mean, you can cut a few of these corners and really not have any really repercussions out there on the speedway. You'd think there'd be a 3 or 4 second issue there with cutting the course, but really, no problem at all for Smith, and he's able to stick right there with Mr. Rungle Brungy out there on the speedways. We do see a couple more drivers running into issues here. Stephen Blevins going to have another problem in the 15 ride down through corner number 1. Exits 1, heads back down towards corner number 2 right here. You wonder if maybe he gets in there a little too wide, a little too hard, and a little too far, and that's exactly what happens. And that is a huge hit there for the 15 ride. Oh, no, that was a big hit. A lot of right front and front end damage. Take a look at the hood there, already popped open. Man, this car is going to be hurting just trying to work its way around this speedway again. And this is going to just take him back even a little bit more here. He may even lose a couple more laps, or may even have to head back down pit road to get extended damage repair done to this 15 ride. Here he comes down pit lane. So for the 15 machine of Mr. Blevins, he does hit pit road. The Skyline ride heads down pit side. Looks like he will hit his pit stall. I'm just not sure how long this may hold him down pit road for Nicholas Wheeler. That could be another position for this Micro Center 41 ride, as he is only, I believe, a lap behind Blevins. So he may be able to leapfrog him here in a lap and a half if Blevins is down pit side for an extended period of time here this evening. Now, Lucian Thompson, Trevor Dyer, you do see Aiden Lucas still down there. They have not left this race, but they're still down pit road. Their nights are over. I don't believe they're going to get back into this race, back into the action here this evening, as their cars are still very heavily damaged. You do see the 15 ride up Blevins, he's down there. The crew's going to work, trying to get him back out there, but I'm not sure if he will. And we talked about one driver having issues and potentially taking himself out of this race. Obviously, the contact between him and Evan Stewart kind of changed the entire ball game here. As you see the damage there on that 16 ride of Matthew Wood, gets into the fence right there. Even more front end damage for him, and he comes to a stop, and he takes this car out of the race. Matthew Wood no longer continuing here this evening. So the best car in this race is not going to win this race. Matthew Wood's day at the Speedway is over. It is now a battle here at the front of the field for Xavier Rugglebruggy to try to pick up his first win here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. Zay has a 1.2 second gap between himself and the number 31 rider Joseph Smith. Smith sits in position number 2, just slightly back behind him, but you do see Landon Burbage right there as well. Burbage definitely in striking distance as he rolls in position number 3, and not too far behind them. That 57 rider, Grant Applegate, can't count out Applegate either. He's there in 4th. He's right here with these guys. There are still a lot of laps left and still a lot of opportunities for drivers to race their way up there, as we do see as we go gaming in the chat. Says, honestly, probably it for me for a while. As Matthew Wood says, racing of any kind isn't doing it for me. Oh, no, Matthew! Brother, we hate to hear that, man. We hate to hear that, brother. That is a heartbreaker. Always fun to see Matthew out there, battling, putting up, good laps, good racing, and sticking with these guys. And, I mean, man, such a good run. Such a good race going for you here this afternoon. I mean, literally 2 seconds quicker, over 2 seconds faster than any other driver here this evening. No one else anywhere close to you, man. A 2:09.37 quick time here. The next fastest lap time, a 2:11.48. 2.11 seconds, quicker than anyone else's quick time here this evening. Absolutely blazing fast times out there on the speedway. And unfortunately now for Matthew Wood, down pit side, behind pit wall, and out of this race, scored back in that 10th position. I'm not sure if Blevins is going to be able to continue here this evening, but I do know for Nicholas Wheeler, who ran into an onslaught of early race issues, went down multiple laps early in this race for this number 41 ride. He stuck with it. He's gotten back out here. He's kept on battling, kept on rolling, and for that Chesapeake Racing number 41 ride, may come out of this with a really good finish here. I believe as he heads down through corner number 13, 14, and 15, back through corner 16 here, and across the line, he will pass the number 15 of Stephen Blevins. So Blevins will fall to 12th. Nicholas Wheeler will now jump into position number 11 out there on the speedway. Actually, Blevins got rolling here. So Blevins may have known that Wheeler was about to pass him. He gets back into it, so he's trying to keep Wheeler back there at bay. Could be a bit of a dogfight between the 15 and the 41 ride back here for the 11th position, but it may be position number 10 with Matthew Wood down and out of this race. They're only about 4 laps away from leapfrogging Matthew Wood there for that 10th position as well, as I believe, I don't know who that was. We may have just saw another driver into the wall right there. Not too sure if that was a driver or if I was just seeing things there, but nonetheless, we take a look here out in front. It's Xavier Rugglebrugge, Joseph Smith. I think they both know it. It is their show now. It is their race. Wood is out. Fisher is out. It is Xavier and Joseph Smith who get to duke it out here for the race win here this evening. As we take a look back here, Ryan Haller going to run into some issues here in the 60 ride. Let's take a look here already with the front end damage after the mistake on the restart for the Kroger 60 ride, and looks like through the concrete right there, just kind of lose the rear end, has to lock it down. Luckily enough, no additional damage, no big mistake right there for Haller, so that's a good break there for him. Now we did see Landon Burbage also have an issue here himself. Our third place driver. Let's take a look here. See what happens to Burbage down to quarter number 13. Lose that rear end. We saw that take out Jordan Fisher. We saw the 41 ride do that earlier as well. That will slide him back to 4th and allow Grant Applegate to jump into position number 3. So Applegate a little bit closer to our top 2 drivers here, and potentially gonna try to crash the party here for the Chesapeake Racing number 5 ride of Xavier Rugglebrugge. You know, we do see the number 23 of Austin Thompson. Looks like he's going to run into some problems here himself. Austin rolling in the 7th position. Just gets in there a little too quick. Couldn't quite make that corner. Does kiss the tire barriers there and gets a little bit of damage to the right front, but not too bad. So he will end up sticking right where he was in position number 6 on the speedways. Now Evan Stewart. Oh no, Evans ran into issues. I don't know if he's just ran into connection problems, but Evan Stewart manually disconnected. Oh my gosh, we see another driver exit this race chat. Looks like Evan Stewart's day is done. Ryan Haller will jump into 7th. Thaddeus Friel will now jump into 8th. And there's 2 more positions available here for Nicholas Wheeler. If you go back to the start of this race and see what Wheeler went through, see the damage that he received, the penalty that he had to start this race, and for how many laps he went down after getting the damage repaired, you would have counted him out. You would have thought there's no way Wheeler ends up with a solid finish here this evening. But with Matthew Wood now out of this race and Evan Stewart also out of this race, if Wheeler can keep on wheeling it, he could potentially work his way into position number 9 here this evening. But for Zay and Smith, 1 and 2, Applegate's there in 3rd. You gotta wonder if Applegate, man, can right the ship here. We've seen him make some mistakes. We've seen him get some pretty solid damage on this 57 ride. But if he can continue to just hit his marks, keep running a smart race here late in it, and try to put himself into a good position, the 57 ride of Applegate right here, right in line, could be a part of the party here for the checkered flag this afternoon. He's only about 2 seconds back of Xavier Rungo-Brugge, our race leader, and only about 1.6 seconds back of that number 31 of Joseph Smith. So he is there. He is in the picture frame for the dump here this evening. Now for Landon Burbage, unfortunately, after his spin through 13, he has found himself back about 12 seconds behind our race leaders here. I think for Burbage, unless our race leaders all run into some issues here, he's either going to have to find a whole nother gear, or unfortunately he may end up kind of finishing this race, kind of back in that 4th position. Now he does have Jack Buelte not too far behind him. They're in position number 5. Austin Thompson's there in 6. Haller and Friel rounding out our top 8. A driver that is currently sitting 6 laps down. Nicholas Wheeler could potentially end up here not only with a top 10, but maybe a top 9 performance out there on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if he can leapfrog Evan Stewart here this evening, as he is currently, I think, 5 laps behind Evan Stewart. There's 6 laps left to go in this race. I believe by my calculations, he should be able to leapfrog Evan here as well. I mean, it may get really tight there. He may not have enough laps to leapfrog the 37 ride. Definitely has enough laps to leapfrog Matthew Wood, but to leapfrog Evan Stewart for 9th may be a bit of a stretch here this afternoon. But I think as we continue to click these laps off for Zay and Joseph Smith, even for Applegate, Landon Burbage, even if you do run into some late race issues and end up down behind pit wall and potentially out of this race, good news is that I don't think you can fall any deeper in the field than the 8th position. I think as long as you take lap number 40 here on the lead lap, I don't think Wheeler can leapfrog you, even lap 39. So I think everyone that's still on the lead lap, including Thaddeus Friel Jr., if you're to wreck, if you're to crash out of this race, I believe you will not fall any farther back than the 8th position. So that's good news for everyone else. Unfortunately for Nicholas Wheeler, that means he cannot leapfrog any more drivers here. He will be at best able to jump into the 9th position out there on the speedway. But for Xavier Rungo-Brugge and Joseph Smith, man, the battle's still on for the top spot. It's a free 3-car fight here at the front of the field. Zay, Smith, Applegate. Honestly, if you would have asked me 20 laps ago if I thought that these 3 would be fighting for the race win late in this race, I would have said no way. I would have said, nope, Wood is running away with it. Even if Wood doesn't run away with it, Jordan Fisher is going to run away with it. And both drivers are out of this race. And now it's a dogfight, chat. We get to see a crazy battle here in the closing laps of this feature event between Xavier Rungo-Brugge, Joseph Smith, and Mr. Grant Applegate out there on the speedway. Now it's going to come down to some really good hard racing here as the pair of Chesapeake Racing rides 1 and 2. Those are teammates here in the top 2 spots. For this number 57 of Applegate, he is not a teammate here. He is not a part of the Chesapeake Racing team. So I think for Smith and Xavier, their main goal has got to be one of them winning this race. One of them may have to jump onto the grenade. One of them may have to try to do as many blocks and put themselves into as many tight positions as they can to keep that 57 right at Applegate back there at bay. But I think as a team, that has got to be a key to their success. If they want to come home at least with the win, they got to keep him back there. I mean, obviously for both Xavier and Joseph, they want to come home 1 and 2. They want to finish off this race on the front top 2 positions. But with Applegate right there with them, it's got to give them a little bit of nerves here late in this race, especially for Xavier looking for his first race win here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. Burbage quite a ways back there here. He's still about 12.5 seconds back of Applegate, about 14 seconds back of our race leader, Xavier Rungo-Brugge. Jack Buelte a little farther back here, sitting in that 5th position. Austin Thompson's in 6th. Ryan Haller's in 7th. Thaddeus Friel Jr. is in position number 8. Now for Zay out in front, we'll head down through the Red Bull area here on the Speedway, back down into the Camping World corner here at the beautiful Navel Base Coronado. And for this number 5 ride of Xavier Rungle-Brugge, he will look to try to keep his teammate, the 31 of Smith, back at bay, and that 57 of Applegate back there with him, as we're going to jump on board here for a little bit with this 57 of Applegate, as we'll jump into a very quick and slight Uncle Ronnie Crank It Up here. So let's see if we can jump in here with the Crank It Up presented by Uncle Rodney here this evening for probably about a lap around the racetrack here as we inch closer and closer to our checkered flag. Let's jump on board with this 57 of Grand Applegate to kick off the Crank It Up presented by Uncle Rodney. Alrighty, as we get down to the nitty-gritty here, huge shout out to Uncle Ronnie as our sponsor here at the Crank It Up is, oh, look out, hang on to it, our second place driver, the 31 of Joseph Smith goes around. Smith loses it. He was all over the back bumper of his teammate Xavier Rogolbroggi for many corners, but right here clips the fence with that left rear, knocks the rear end out, goes for a slide. Luckily enough, no major damage or contact, but that slide does slide him back into position number 3 here on the Speedway. So it's no longer a Chesapeake Racing 1 and 2 out there on the Speedway. Applegate now finds himself in that second spot here on the Speedway. So Grant Applegate up into position number 2, but time is running out for him to try to hunt down the number 5 of Xavier Rogolbroggi as Zay down and across the line. We'll see the white flag fly around the 41 ride, so he does lap Nicholas Wheeler. That may unfortunately keep Wheeler from being able to gain that extra position on Evan Stewart right there, losing that lap. But for Zay, he does see the white flag fly. So for the final time here this evening, you'll head down and into corner number 3 and by the beautiful nuclear aircraft carrier right there through 3 and 4 here at Naval Base Coronado. Head back down into corner number 5 for the number 5 ride of Xavier Rogolbroggi. He's got 2.5 seconds between himself and this 57 of Grant Applegate. Is Applegate in tow, trying to hunt him down, trying to reel him in here on the Speedway, but is quickly falling farther and farther behind this number 5 ride, and obviously running out of time here as we're about to hit midway through this racetrack. So about only 1.7 miles left to go here this evening at Naval Base Coronado. 2.5 seconds between Xavier Rogolbroggi looking for his first wheel-to-wheel racing league win. Grant Applegate looking for another one here this evening. We do see Ryan Holler's ran into some issues here again. Heavy damage here. You take a look at the right front, pretty tore up here late in the race for that 60 ride of Holler, but able to keep with it here. Looking to try to hang on to the 8th position as we do see the 98 of Thaddeus Friel was able to get around him and into 7th here on the Speedway. But Zay, nice and easy, gonna keep on clicking these laps off and keep on clicking away as he takes another couple corners really nicely there. Opens up that race lead a little bit more. It is about 2, almost 3 seconds now between him and Applegate. Applegate runs into an issue right here. Slides through that corner, and now all of a sudden for Xavier Rogolbroggi has about 3.5 seconds as he heads down through corner 13, 14, and 15, down and into our final corner 16 here at Naval Base Coronado. Across the line, it's Xavier Rogolbroggi who's able to pick up the win. Zay gets it done and picks up the dub here at Naval Base Coronado here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner, Xavier Rogolbroggi. Zay picks up the dub and will get to celebrate his first career win here with the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League, man. He's been having such a good stretch of races here. A lot of solid top 3 performances, just has not been able to break through with a victory until now. And finally gets to pick up a dub here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League, man. Shout out there to Zay with the win here in this one. Grant Applegate comes home in second. Joseph Smith there rounds out our top 3. Jack Bulty was able to work his way into 4th as Landon Burbage had fallen back into 5th. Austin Thompson in 6th with Thaddeus Friel Jr. in position number 7. Actually, we're going to see this 98 ride of Friel. Still got a couple corners left to go. Still rolling out there on the Speedway. A bunch of these drivers still yet to finish. Austin Thompson, our 6th place finisher, had just crossed the start-finish line for Friel. Has to make it nicely through at least a couple more corners out here on the racetrack. Could potentially still lose a spot here to Ryan Holler if he can't make it to the line. But I believe for Friel should have no problems here as he heads down through 13, 14, and 15. Can just take it nice and easy and just kind of inch his way down across the line here as Friel will come home in the 7th position here this evening. There it is, across the line in 7th. Looking for Ryan Haller here to finish his race. Says Haller, he's still got a ways away to go here. He's still got a few corners left himself in that Kroger 60 Rhine. Pretty tore up race car out there on the speedway, as Ruggle Bruggy in the chat says, great driving, Xavier, way to go. Says, woohoo, woohoo for the number 5 ride. Zay with the dub here this evening at Navel Base Coronado, man. Great run, great performance there for Xavier to pick up the win, as there's Haller down across the line. Maybe across the line. There it is. Officially across the line in position number 8. But Zay with the win. Here he comes. Back down at a corner number 16, getting ready to celebrate here at Naval Base Coronado. Big dub for the Raising Canes Chesapeake Racing number 5 ride, as he gets to burn down the house here in San Diego. What a run, what a race, what a performance. This is our inaugural race here in the USA 250. Man, what a run, what a performance, man. The Chesapeake Racing ride, burning it down here in this one, man. He is pumped up. He is excited here this evening. This is a big one here, as Haller says, should be happy with a top 10, but I'm not. Congrats, 5. Yeah, big congrats there to Xavier with the win. Now he's going to celebrate here with Landon Burbage. I do believe Burbage are part of this team as well, as they're going to bump and rub here. They're going to burn down the house and celebrate a big win here this evening. And we'll get ready to pull them both up here. Well, the one up here, Xavier into the booth for his post-race interview. Okay, that's pretty loud. Let's see if we can move away from that here, as we'll get ready to pull our race winner, Xavier Ruggle Bruggy, up and into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. Waiting for him to jump into the waiting room here. We have Applegate in there. We have Joseph Smith in there. I don't see Xavier in the waiting room as of yet. So we'll wait for Zay to jump into the booth here and get him up here for his post-race interview. As Haller says, had a completely clean, fast race until 10 laps to go, and I killed it, laugh out loud. Yeah, you kind of killed it there on that final restart, Haller. That final restart kind of did you in when you blew it through that corner and drove it into the wall there. I think that kind of really did you in, and then obviously a few more mistakes after that. But, I mean, hey, you know what? You stuck with it. You're able to finish this race. You were on the lead lap. I mean, being on the lead lap and finishing this race is better than what 60% of this field was able to say here this evening, as unfortunately for Evan Stewart, he does finish back in 9th. Unfortunately, did not finish this race. For Wheeler, going a lap down there on the final lap to Xavier Ruggelbrug, he did not allow him to complete his 39th lap, so he did not get to leapfrog Evan Stewart, but still a incredible recovery there for Wheeler to come home in the 10th position here this evening. That's an incredible bounce back for him out there on the speedway. As Greg Dyer did mention earlier, says number 41, Wheeler gets my vote for the Iron Man Never Quit trophy. I agree with that one. Definitely the Iron Man right there. Never gave up, never gave an inch, and able to find himself up in a top 10 run here this evening, which is absolutely incredible. As we'll get ready to pull our race winner, Mr. Xavier Ruggelbruggy, up here into the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner here this evening. Hey, Zay, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Zay, you're finally able to get it done. You finally find your way into victory lane here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind, and how does it feel to finally get that monkey off your back and park this Chesapeake Racing number 5 ride into victory lane?
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this summer stretch has been honestly insane. I think my worst finish since, I want to say, about the start of June has been a 7th. I've been on an absolute tear recently. I've just been racking up top 10s, top 5s. I think this is my 4th podium of the summer stretch. Finally able to get over the hump of getting the win. I've come runner-up, I think, like 3-4 times this season. 2 of those times being on the road course. So man, it's amazing to finally get my first win, man. Oh my god, coming into this week, I was not very confident. This is probably one of the hardest tracks I've ever driven in my life. I'm honestly shocked I was able to keep it in one piece. I didn't get damage at all. But it seemed like everyone else around me was hitting the wall, getting damage, cosmetic, wheel, all of that. I was able to keep my nose clean, which I think really helped me, get to the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having a clean car, not running into issues or putting yourself behind the eight ball here this afternoon was definitely the key to success here. And for a long time, it seemed like it was going to be Matthew Woods' race to win here. He was kind of in a whole different ballpark here this evening, but pushing the car maybe a little bit too hard there throughout that second stage, had gotten into the outside fence a couple times, and unfortunately had giving himself a little bit of damage, where he then stayed down pit road there for a little while under that second stage break. And in which turn put him back into the Hornet's nest, trying to work his way back up into third. Got tagged by the 37 rider Evan Stewart. That took him around, caused a ton of damage there for Matthew and for you and Smith and I think everyone else in the field. Maybe a little bit of breath of fresh air right there. Maybe a little sigh of relief as you were able to open up a huge lead there on him. And once he finally took that car off the racetrack, man, you had to have known, all right, it's now a race, a battle between yourself and your teammate Joseph Smith for the most part there. I mean, Applegate put the pressure on you guys there a little bit, so did Burbage, but really, man, it was a dogfight between you and Smith there for many laps here today, man. Take us kind of through the game plan. Obviously, trying to battle for second for majority of this race. So all of a sudden, in this final stage, battling for the race win.
Yeah. I guess Matthew coming to the second stage, he clipped the barrels on pit road because he said it. He said in chat like, "Hey, everyone, watch out for clipping the barrels and whatnot." Then after he said that, he PM'd me. He's like, "Yo, I got wheel damage. Probably gonna be out. Go win this thing." And I was like 10-4. He did get most of the damage fixed. It seemed like because you know how long pace laps are around here. It's like 5 or 5 minutes each pace lap. So if you get 7 minutes of damage, well, it's not really gonna. You'll get sent to the back, but outside of that, you'll get most of that fixed. But he got tangled up in his own mess. I was able to keep my nose clean. Joseph also had damage. There was a lot of sections he was better than me in, especially at towards the end of the track. The I think the Camping World section he was way better than me. The Red Bull section he was way better than me. But I had the track position and I was just able to hold it in front of him and park it in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Able to get it done. He was there on your back bumper. We saw him there for a little bit, kind of almost pushing around there. You had to slide through the corners a few times, try to push it a little bit more to just try to keep him back there at bay as he would show and know. So you're inside. You were able to drive it in a little deeper than him, but it was causing issues for yourself. And then luckily enough for yourself, but not luckily enough for your teammate Smith, ends up making a mistake there in the closing laps, goes around, ends up giving up that second position to Applegate, who comes home in position number 2. But for yourself, you're just able to set sail there in the final lap, kind of pull farther away from Applegate as you just had nothing left there for you. No chance to chase you down without a huge mistake, and you didn't make a single one on that final lap as you drove your way up and into victory lane here in San Diego, man. It's going to feel pretty good. Obviously, coming to any road course feels good. Getting your first win in the series feels good, but this is a pretty incredible racetrack. This is the first time I have been here. Have you had much experience here at Navel Base Coronado?
No, simply no. I don't run officials that much, and this is the first league race I've done here. So my first experience of the track um was at earlier in the week, and it was a mess. I mean, I was spinning everywhere. I was slow. Um, but towards the end of the week, I was able to, gain a lot of time. There's a lot of time to be gained here. I've seen guys go into the 203s here. I think that's in preferable or mostly preferable track conditions and probably an open set. Um, but in the fixed set, you'll get your fastest guys will probably be running 209s, 208s on a quali lap. Um, and I was definitely not that guy. I knew if I wanted to win this race, I had to save my tires because tires here, this track will absolutely tear into your tires like it's an oval, and I just had to make sure that I got the track position, and all those things came together. Again, being one of the only cars tonight that I'm pretty sure being one of the only cars tonight that didn't get any damage. So able to keep my nose clean. It's probably the cleanest ride I've ever parked up into victory lane. But yeah, we did it. About time. I'm not. I'm not this league Sheldon Creed anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. No longer Sheldon Creed here today, man. You get to, make your claim as one of the race winners, one of the lucky few race winners already here on this season in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. And you finally parked that 5 ride up in the top spot. Zay, who'd you like to thank for such a great run and great race again here this afternoon?
Obviously, want to thank all my teammates that showed up today. That include Joseph Smith, Landon Burbage, Lucian Thompson, Parmenter, full gov name, but whatever. Um, who else was there? Oh yeah, Nick. Nick was also here tonight. Love having Nick. Obviously, shout out to all my friends and family that come and watch the race. Shout out to my grandma. I know she's probably ecstatic. I think she's blowing up my phone right now or something. I've been telling her about getting this first one in this league, so finally able to get over that hump. And man, you know what? Next week we're rolling in the Gateway, and that's where it all started for me in this league. And I was this close to winning it last year. If you remember, I was that close to winning it, but unfortunately a pit road speeding penalty got me out. So you know what? Let's try and make it 2 in a row next week.
Absolutely, brother. We look forward to it and look forward to seeing if you can get it done there at Gateway, man. What a run. What a race for yourself here tonight. Say congrats on the win, man. And we can't wait for many, many more trips for you up here into Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in Victory Lane here at Naval Base Coronado.
Man, I'm taking a rest.
I don't blame you on that one, brother. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner one more time here this evening, Mr. Xavier Ruggle as he gets the job done here in this one. We'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 57 of Mr. Grant Applegate. Hey, Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
I believe so.
Grant, man, good run. Good race for yourself here tonight, man. Take us back through it. Is obviously a pretty fast car, a pretty good, solid afternoon for you, but it didn't come without some issues. As we saw you down pit road getting, pretty good damage repaired there after a few mistakes. It seemed like really down into corner number 2 here. Kind of chewed that car up multiple times here this afternoon, but late in it, you're able to get the car pretty much fully repaired. You get right back into the battle. You drive your way up there, and all of a sudden find yourself, inside the top 5. Then you get around Burbage. You're into 4th after he spins. Then you're chasing down Zay and Joseph here, trying to make some late race moves. And Joseph runs into a mistake. You jump into 2nd. Unfortunately, just not enough time to try to, have a run at Zay here for the race win. But you come home with a, pretty solid 2nd place performance, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind.
Yeah, it was an eventful race to say the least. Yeah, just I felt like my best part of the track for me was my braking. I felt like I was much better on the brakes than a lot of people. So then I kept pushing the braking zones more and more, and then just wheel hopped it one too many times, and got the initial contact into turn 2, and that was fine. That was just nose damage and like midsection damage. It never didn't give me no wheel damage or nothing. But then just trying to rebound from that, I pushed it a little bit too much through a chicane and clipped the tire bundle, and then that gave me wheel damage. And then we still had several laps to go in the stage, and just the wheel damage with the other damage made me tight and ended up missing another corner. And all in all, I had like 7 minutes of damage by the end of stage 1. So it took the stage 1 caution and then the stage 2 caution to get it all fixed. And then obviously, whatever, I think last stage was about 13 laps starting from last. Granted, last place was only 10th, but yeah, just it made me push the car more than I wanted to catch up to Joseph and Zay. And by the time I got to him, I had burnt the rear tires off of it. So had to just kind of sit there at like 2 seconds behind and hope they got to racing and made a mistake. But unfortunately, it was just Joseph who made the mistake. And yeah, I'm second place finish after 7 minutes of damage. I'll take it, considering all the other great road course guys that did end up wrecked out of the race. The fact that I did finish the race is something to at least take home and be okay with.
Yeah, absolutely. Still being able to finish this race, sticking with it, and obviously coming out of here with a pretty solid points day here at Naval Base Coronado. Now, we asked Zay, if he really had much experience here. He said just a little bit of practicing throughout the week, and then obviously here today as well, getting prepared for this race. But for yourself, man, have you had any league races here? Have you been here before? What's your experience here at Naval Base Coronado?
Oh yeah, I had a league race about a week after the track came out, and I hated it. Um, I think I finished all right in that. I think I finished second in that race as well. But yeah, I don't like driving the track. I don't like these cup cars. Just they do not like bumps, and the whole track is bumps. So yeah, it's not fun to me. I'd much rather go to like a Watkins Glen or Sonoma, just a normal smooth NASCAR road course. But yeah, just I had that one race and then showed up tonight with that experience and went into qualifying with kind of just wondering what was going to happen. And yeah, turned out all right.
Yeah, it turned out pretty decently for you here this afternoon as you park yourself up and on the podium in position number 2 here this evening. Grant, who'd you like to thank for another great run and great performance out there on the Speedway?
Just shout out to Austin Thompson, my teammate. Always appreciate him sticking around, giving me somebody to talk to throughout the race and keep me focused on racing. Being by yourself is never fun. So appreciate him, and then obviously appreciate the admins who keep the show going and give us a place to show up every Sunday to race.
Absolutely, man. Well, Grant, great run, great drive for you here tonight, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack at Gateway next Sunday night. See if you can park this 57 and ride right back up here into the broadcast booth.
Hopefully, I can eventually win a race. I can't seem to figure out how to do that over here, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, brother. We can't wait to see that happen, man. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Good night.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Mr. Grant Applegate, as we pull in now our third place finisher, the 31 of Joseph Smith. Hey, Joseph, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Joseph, man, great run, great drive for yourself here tonight, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind as you round out our podium here this evening.
Oh, I'm tired, and I do not want to come back here again. I already was dreading this race, and even though I ran well, it doesn't change my opinion. I just don't like it here. So, I mean, I'm just happy I got a top 3 after wrecking the car. There was definitely some internal damage because I could not get on the throttle properly for the rest of the run after that. It was like the right rear suspension felt squishy. Every time I'd get on the throttle, it'd like sink into the ground. I don't know. But yeah, happy for my teammate finally getting his first win. Yeah, just not much to say. I'm just tired. It's a hard racetrack, and it's hard but not fun, in my opinion. Not knocking anyone who does enjoy this track. I just don't like it.
Yeah, definitely. Probably same sentiment out of a lot of drivers here this evening. We just heard Applegate kind of say the exact same thing. Definitely not a fan favorite racetrack, that is for certain. But you guys were able to put on a heck of a show for us. Obviously, after Wood kind of took himself out of this race and ran into his issues. All of a sudden, it was just a dogfight between you and your teammate Xavier out there on the speedway, and we saw that throughout, stage 1 and stage number 2. You guys were just kind of tight together, kind of, nose to tail for majority of this race. And there towards the end, it looked like you were maybe the better car. You're pushing hard there. You're right on his back bumper. Just couldn't quite complete the pass. And then obviously ran into that mistake where he kind of just tagged the wall there, went around and allowed Applegate to get around you to eliminate the 1-2 finish here for Chesapeake Racing, but still a 1-3 performance here. 2 cars on the podium this afternoon. Gotta feel pretty good, man. But take us kind of through that, late race issue, and obviously trying to battle with your teammate Xavier for the win here this evening.
Yeah, again, I was uncomfortable the rest of the run after destroying the rear. It wasn't like terrible. It's just I couldn't get on the throttle. The car was completely fine doing everything but getting on the throttle and like maybe the heavy braking. But yeah, I probably could have like fought him harder, but like I remember what he did for me at Iowa, so I was like I'll go for it if there's like a window, but yeah, I just was more focused on not wrecking, which I still did anyway. But yeah, again, I'm still just happy I finished top 3 after destroying the rear.
Yeah, absolutely. Still able to hang on to it. Still able to park it on the podium here tonight. Joseph, man, great run, great performance, man. Who would you like to thank for a great drive out there on the speedway?
I'd like to thank everyone on my team at Chesapeake Racing. They all show up and try their best every week. All my friends and family who watch all my races at home. They watch every race that I do every week, and almost never miss out. So I'm grateful for them.
Beauty. Well, Joe, great run, great drive here this evening, brother. We can't wait to see you back in action again next Sunday night from Gateway and see if you can perk this 31 ride right back up here on the podium.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Joseph Smith. As Smith comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive out of that 31 ride. Unfortunately, though, that will do it for us here this evening, man. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love with the likes, the comments, the shares, man. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we can't wait to see you guys back in here again next Sunday, or potentially again tuning in and watching some more of our amazing racing here almost every single day of the week here on Peacemaker Gaming, as we will be back in action with our Monday night series tomorrow night. They are back to battle in the Metalheads Truck Series, and going to be another great show, another great night of racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming, as that'll be a fun one. That'll be great to see some of those drivers back into battle and back out there on the racetrack for our Monday night series. But thank y'all for watching here tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. And we'll catch you guys back here in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.